Just put it on. I'm sure I will look great with that. Singapore here, coming into this Rage of Tofu, one of my favorite names, James, and Cup.
And Cup. And Cup.
Neon Tears.
Neon Tears. Neon Tears. If your here's the thing, kids. If your tears are neon, chances are you should go to the doctor. Just an FYI.
That depends.
Thank you.
What you want out of life, really?
Yeah.
To live.
Okay,
Nice.
And there is the Turkish squad here looking to come in to this one with some wins. Both teams, really. Like they really don't want to come out of this 0-12, and I think we're going to get a very competitive matchup here on both sides, right?
Yeah,
they want those wins.
This is absolutely going to be competitive. I have a lot of faith in the Turkish roster. They showed a lot of adaptability yesterday as well as flexibility. They have a fairly deep hero pool. Some worked out more than others for the team. I mean, we saw Hex yesterday and the day before on Tracer, on Pharah, Soldier, McCree, and Widow. Yaga also switched between Genji and 76. So they were like kind of all over the place, but it kind of worked out for them. They had a lot of really long, drawn-out fights versus Russia, which caused some issues.
Yeah,
for the
but
Russian
if we've
roster.
learned anything from South Korea, maybe you should play some Junkrat, Hanzo, and Torbjorn as well. Orisa as well, yes.
Throw it in there.
Maybe that's the problem.
That's
No, maybe
that's a real issue.
You need to play all of the heroes.
Maybe that's the issue.
Yeah.
Play some mayhem and just hero roulette. Just get whoever
mayhem.
you can.
Never mayhem.
Never.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What if they just like solved John Cena's VC issues? So you just came on stage like just bring out the Orisa and just like,
breaks it out. You know, it's like
4-0.
Here comes John Cena. He's just, oh man, I've been wanting to do that for years. You have no idea as a wrestling fan.
Oh,
so. Yes. I mean, he is there though. They just can't see him.
Yeah. Time is now.
The time is now. Hustle, loyalty, respect. Why are we doing this?
I don't know.
I don't even watch
So
wrestling.
you don't follow professional wrestling? I'm assuming.
I do.
I've made you.
Wow.
First
First of all, what an assumption.
oh well,
I'm
because
offended.
you don't follow like Arrested Development, or you follow Arrested
I
Development.
do, and
Okay,
I was
never
a
mind.
massive Hulk Hogan fan when I was a kid, and all his knee issues, I followed it, all right?
Yes.
I was on top of things, so
Yeah.
yeah, I do know who that is. But it's
I didn't
still not pronounced the way you're pronouncing it, because he turned it into a Turkish name, so it's Sinan.
Sinan. Oh, I respect
Yeah,
Hustle.
all right.
Sinan.
Can we please respect that?
James, you wanted to chime in here with an insightful thought on the.
Wow.
It wasn't going to be insightful at all.
No.
let's be real here.
At least
let's be real.
At least you admit it. That's the most.
Gotta own
important.
up to
I
it.
just quickly want to bring up that yesterday when I walked across the hallway, I mean, Singapore had a rough time in the games they had so far, and the committee members of them which came here, they, I think it was Tsuki, which I heard, giving them the pep talk of a lifetime. I very much hope that they're feeling a little bit better coming into this last day.
Well, you know what? I'm looking forward to this matchup here. We have two teams that are really looking to perform and really looking to make it happen. So let's see if that's going to be the case here, and let's see if we're going to have ourselves a match on our hands and send it over to your commentators for this game. It's going to be Uber and Mr. X.
All right, Matt, you're having a bad influence on Johnny right now. He's talking about wrestling, he's drinking G Fuel, and he pulls the same face in every photo. What do you have to say for yourself?
I have been a pretty poor influence on Johnny. I like what he's doing, though.
Well, you've broken him.
He's pretty funny. I have broken him. So sending him back to Team Sweden, to Vic, not in the best of shapes.
I don't think Vic wants him back after this, to be fair, after at least some of the shade's been thrown. But, excuse me, it is going to be, of course, Singapore going up against Turkey. And I've spent a little bit of time speaking to Afiz, who is the committee, one of the committee members for Singapore, and he says this is a really young team, and one of the trickiest parts of this event has been getting them to keep their heads up. They know that they've definitely come into pretty much every match as an underdog, and for him, it's a matter of just trying to keep the morale high.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, when you lose that first map and you don't have a lot of just team confidence and morale to try and bounce back from there, makes it even harder. And you know, the Turkish roster, Nikto's in the back watching the Russia game with us. He's talking about the Far Mercy, you know, that they had yesterday against Russia, how good it was. Proved out to be positive for Team Canada. Turkey, they feel like they're only like 1 or 2 players away from really being a contender.
And to be fair, the results have sort of stood in their favour. Yes, 4-0s don't really tell the entire story, but Turkey has been looking pretty good so far. Now, Nikto will probably just open up there with the Hanzo briefly. I believe the scatter shot actually did a bit of damage towards Zest. And now, the rest of the Turkish team can move up towards the statue and begin their onslaught.
We'll see how Turkey plays this here off the start. Hex is very good yesterday on the Pharah. He's going to be playing Tracer here at the beginning. it's going to be a standard divecom coming in from Turkey.
Yeah, can we point out that John Gyorgy is actually playing the true Junkrat here for Singapore. So, as Johnny said on the desk, perhaps a leaf has been taken out of the book of the Korean side here. Singapore going for something a little bit different. We'll have to see if they can actually make it work, or if it's the artistry of the Koreans that really makes that pick shine. Hex has found Aijin in the back line, and Anna is the first to fall.
Yeah, and Aijin was playing up top. He's forced down when they dive up on him up top, with Edwin and Alfred leading the way for Turkey. Once he's out on the ground, he is a easy pickings for Hex. You've seen Turkey get on the point, getting very close to Cavalier.
Yeah, interesting use of the Riptide there from John Gyorgy. Hex was able to cleverly sidestep the trap that was placed on the ground, if you didn't see that. And then he went and one-clipped the Junkrat while he had his ears plugged, head in the sand, and the Riptide was ringing on. Not ideal start for Singapore. They've switched off of that Junkrat pick now as well. They're done with that. But Turkey have the point with 5 minutes and 15.
Yeah, and I don't know if I love the Junkrat pick at the beginning. Like, it's clearly something South Korea had practiced coming into this event. I don't know if Singapore has put really a lot of time in. I mean, really, South Korea is the only team we've heard about even running the Junkrat. So, I mean, maybe trying to, capture some of, the South Korean magic here did not work out at the start of the game.
No, not at all. But that's the way things go sometimes. And Junkrat ostensibly is not supposed to be strong against a dive comp anyway, given his lack of mobility. But Yaga's got around the backside of Dragonblade, could be forthcoming in just a second if he wants to double back and deal with the support there. The sound barrier just makes him slow down a little bit on this, and maybe just wait a moment. Now that sound barrier has dissipated and Cup falls, so does Aijin, and Yaga finds 2 supports in the backline pretty comfortably. Turkey not looking to be stopped thus far.
Singapore uses a sound barrier there and their own Dragon Blade in that fight, and they just try and take the fight to Turkey. Turkey disengages, uses a sound barrier of their own, and then Yaga, just once that sound barrier on the side of Singapore goes away, pops his own Dragon Blade, as Turkey is just moving the payload really uncontested at this point so far.
Hex close to a pulse bomb as well. At this stage, Singapore trying to set up a little bit. Look, Neon Tears not getting too much of that Dragon Blade earlier on. Now just trying to work a little bit of the high ground in here inside the Foundry. Nanobu's just going to be there. Again, not a huge amount of ultimates to work with, so this fight definitely going to be about how it's played out. Hex gets into the back, he just drops down. Pulse Bomb is stuck and not eaten up by Rage of Tofu, but no one's really there to experience the blast. Yaga found Neon Tears already. You can see over the payload, Rage of Tofu has a bit of space, but there's not much backup for him. He tries to boost his way out. Now Zest steps up to the plate, but they've lost all the key targets. Turkey are very good, actually, at ignoring the tanks and dealing with those more vulnerable backliners.
And Singapore has really gotten nothing out of their ultimate usage. You saw right there, Zest get nano boosted, jump in, was not able to pick up any kills. Turkey able to stay on the payload, move it on forward. It's been a dominant start here for Turkey. Edwin does have the Primal Rage. You're going to get very close to a Transcendence as well for the next fight.
High ground for Turkey now. A lot of information to be gained here. And again, Singapore can't really shake that trio off of that high ground. They just have to wait for the drop down, and they've done so. Edwin puts the shield cupped. Wow, he's way too close to this one, I'm not going to lie. Aijin now, quick party grenade thrown down. Edwin doesn't really care, but he's going to go for the Primal Rage. Gets put to sleep though, nicely done. Good turnaround, but unfortunately, these good moments are coming from Singapore too few and far between, to be honest with you. And the rest of Turkey still able to flex their muscles over the Singaporeans.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a few kills at the end of the fight, but they have just given Turkey so much real estate on the map where they've been able to push Singapore into really poor positions. And now you see Alfred with that self-destruct get up top. And the players for Singapore all grouping up in this corner, going to be able to use that as a zoning tool to try and take this last point.
Yaga with high ground control, waiting for the sound barrier to dissipate, and then it'll be time to pull the blade. Aijin's not going to be ready for this. It needs to be another sleep dart. It's not going to connect, and even the body grenade doesn't really do enough to dissuade Yaga. He's able to get away with a bit of help, and then the sound barrier comes in late for Turkey. That's perfect for them. It's a very comfortable cleanup here, and the Singaporean squad are scrubbed from the face of King's Row. Edwin, a little bit out, too far out from behind the payload, is actually caught by the self-destruct. Rage of Tofu buys some time. There's a pulse bomb thrown over towards the doorway to the spawn, just to zone a little bit here. Turkey look like they're pushing forward, but Singapore are coming back in numbers.
Yeah, Jung Youngji's going to get the nano boost on. The Tracer is able to get behind, take out one player. Neon Tears coming off the spawn is 76, but it picks him up with his teammates. But the payload's so close to being pushed to completion here on King's Row, and Turkey has a ton of time to work with. No ultimates right now, though. I mean, you're going to have a Transcendence for the next fight, but you've just used the Dragon Blade, you use your Pulse Bomb, and you use your Sound Barrier, so maybe Singapore can start to build a little bit of an advantage.
Turkey can win this fight ultless, essentially, if they just have the Transcendence on board. They can shut down Neon Tears really easily, both with the big body of Edwin and with Alfred's defense matrix. So they got a lot of options here despite that. Pushing forward, look at the damage, look at the clean from Edwin. He already has himself the Primal Rage ready to go, and guess what he can do with that? Get in the face of Neon Tears, make it literally impossible for this Soldier 76 to get out. He's forced to ult and then turn tail and run. The tactical visor is definitely a bit of a tactical mistake this time Agent's trying to keep himself alive. The Vital Grenade is just not going to do the job, and Turkey are hanging around this time for a bit longer. Zest falls to the Pulse Bomb. Jongyunji and Rage of Tofu get a sound barrier. Cup also, but he's way off in the periphery here, and Turkey are hanging around.
Yeah, and Yaga's going to pop his Dragon Blade. This very well may be the end. It is Rage of Tofu going up top, just trying to stay alive. And you see it's going to be a boot coming in for Sir Rettler as he falls off the map. It'll be Turkey completing King's Row.
Yeah, and look, that's our first glimpse at, I guess, how these two teams stack up against each other. And it's pretty clear to see so far that Turkey have a distinct advantage. Well, we do need to identify skill gulfs when they exist. And, you know, one thing that we talked about before the match, man, we often say this as commentators, that, you know, this is a consolation match, right? There's not much really on the line. Guess pride in the earlier match between Poland and Austria, you can understand why there's a bit of pride to be playing for here. Here for these two teams, it's really just a matter of trying to improve on their performances so far this week, which is obviously for either of them haven't been great.
And I think Turkey wants to, you know, prove that they are a major player going forward, right? You know, they gave Russia some trouble yesterday. You know, it's not the exact roster they wanted coming into this. You know, maybe you win one here. You know, you get some more confidence. You go home. You put the team you really want together. You come back stronger. On the side of Singapore, I think like they put in a ton of time. Now they're trying to learn, figure out what they can go home, get better at, come back stronger team as well.
And look, these are younger players, at least in terms of how long in the tooth they are when it comes to Overwatch. And this is a team, Singapore, that actually spent a decent amount of time physically in each other's company, you know, landing over on the weekend and preparing for this competition. But they knew exactly what they were getting themselves into. They did know what kind of caliber of opposition they'd be going up against, and sometimes that's just not going to be enough. These guys need this kind of experience to be taking home and going forward with, and even imparting that knowledge to the rest of their scene and their teams. A lot of these players are in, you know, sort of top teams over in Singapore, like Elvalon and Avalon, for example. So they'll hopefully bring this knowledge back. But again, against Turkey here, Turkey looked very, very good. Yeah,
Turkey looked extremely strong yesterday as well. And I think Singapore, now they were the only teams when we talked to them that talked about actually practicing on land coming before getting here. So I believe it was like Fridays and Saturdays they would land, they would scrim 1 or 2 nights a week. So they put in a ton of time.
So what we're looking for here is definitely an individual skill, but also ultimate economy, right? Don't expect to see overly elaborate strategies from either of these two teams, but it's the little things that are going to be, you know, the ones we want to look out for. Agent's going to be on that Widowmaker here. No Ana to sleep dart him across the map, but then again, this is Turkey, not South Korea. And again, hoping for an overextension. You often see Widow played early in a map, just in case the defenders sit further far forward than they should. You see it on Watch Point Gibraltar and Numbani. No, sorry, Dorado, should I say. There you go. Picks up Yaga there as well. Agent kept himself pretty quiet. Now he's found 2 kills. Again, it's a matter of exacerbating this and using this as the Singaporean squad to get that concrete advantage, because they've lost Zest. So it's a 2-for-1 trade.
Well, it's kind of odd that when Hex pushes all the way forward, he sees the Widowmaker shots come out. You know, not let your teammates know maybe that the Widowmaker's up top, because, you know, Turkey, Edwin and Yaga, they played right into that Widowmaker. Was able to pick off 2 players, and now that's given Singapore a big opening advantage here. Maybe they can make something happen of it. Zest jumps up top as they see Nikto's weak, and they're able to take him out as well. It's a very good start here for Singapore.
I love this rollout. This has been really, really good. It's fairly slow. You can see it's been quite segmented, even ponderous at some points, as the Widowmaker kills from Asian were the ones to start with. He never intended to stay on that pick, but he noticed that Turkey were playing fairly far forward and wanted to try and counter dive. So he stays up in that spore window, gets 2 kills, switches to Zenyatta, and then starts to move with Singapore on towards the point.
And they're also going to stay with the Hanzo pick as well. I thought, you know, maybe they would have just came up the top, scatter arrow, maybe a shot with Widow, and then changed off of both of them. But they're going to play around the Hanzo here, see if they can get the Dragon Strike, see if they can pick up anything with it.
This actually doesn't surprise me too much to see Singapore try some Korean-esque approaches here. In an interview earlier on, they said that they model themselves on Korean teams more than any other. They really look to them for inspiration. And Jongyunji's found Nikto there with a headshot. That's a good start to this fight. Neon Tears can work from the back here. Look at all the room that he has to work. Both tanks have fallen mostly to his hand. Jongyunji gets that DC on Alfred, and the chase is on. Hex is forced to back away. It's interesting when you see a fight, Matt, where the 2 DPS players are the last 2 alive. So perhaps not an extreme degree of focus there, but Singapore had the damage.
Well, I mean, when Singapore gets that first pick, I believe, onto Nikto, they're able to just roll on through, and it's a very convincing win there for Singapore. You do have the Hanzo ult here if you want to fire around the corner. Maybe just be able to buy yourself enough time to get that payload extremely close.
Self-destruct comes through here. That could be pretty dangerous. Yaga, though, the Dragon Blade, he's found Jongyunji trying to hide out in the subway. It's not going to work out for him. Agent tries to make use of the bubble, but Nikto just comes straight on through. Gives him a bit of a kick. Sends him back to spawn with his tail between his legs. And even Zest has to try and keep Cup alive as they backtrack to avoid further staggering.
That was Turkey's first good win here so far on the defensive end. Now I think is the real test for Singapore. You know, you were just kind of rolling, building a ton of momentum, having the advantage really early in these fights. Now they have to take Turkey out.
No.
Well, head on, and it's going to be another pick there at the beginning from Jungjonji.
Yeah, simple geometry. It's going to be the scatter arrow that claims the Zenyatta a little bit too close to the flurry of extra shots. Yaga's at least able to respond. He can at least use the lack of mobility of Hanzo against him there and pressure him. It's a 5v5 situation though, with 81% on Neon Tears' Dragon Blade. He'll have that if the fight continues any longer. But Hex has done a good job of picking up agents, so 2 important picks from Turkey now, even though they started the fight at a man disadvantage.
Yeah, Turkey has done a nice job holding on in the fight, but here comes the Dragon Blade from Neon Tears. It's going to be Turkey popping out the Transcendence, just staying alive through this. Perfectly timed ultimate there.
In situations like that, it's very, very hard to gauge whether the enemies and Yaddles or supports will actually have their ultimates. It's mid-fight, so before a fight, your caller usually goes, okay, what do they have? I haven't seen Transcendence for, I haven't seen this, haven't seen that. But in that instance as well, when you're pulling a blade mid-fight, you're actually just kind of hoping that the enemy's Zenyatta doesn't have Trans, and if he does, you're hoping that you can get away alive while forcing that ultimate. Trading Dragon Blade for Transcendence is A-okay.
And also, Nikto was the first one dead at the beginning of that fight, so you're also trying to judge whether he has ultimate and whether he's coming off the spawn and back into the fight.
A lot of fighting here, a lot of defensive ultimates being used in these fights. Yaga now trying to cut through the sound barrier, and eventually Neon Tears got a little bit too close to the keen edge of the Dragon Blade. Now Yaga boots on the ground, and he's going to get cut down. A lot of pressure on him, so a good little switch of focus there. Turkey, they turn it on pretty comfortably. Yaga is down, but Turkey clean up the rest of the fight pretty comfortably now. And this is where they start to set their feet. And for newer teams, or perhaps teams that are a little bit greener to a land environment, when the pressure's on, it can be a little bit hard to reset yourself.
Yeah, it can get a little bit frustrating as well. So now that we've seen Turkey hold on in a few fights, the pressure is even more on Singapore. Can they break this hold here? They do have a pulse bomb. You do have D.Va self-destruct as well. See if they can get anything with either of these ults, as you do see Hex putting down a lot of damage. It looks like Alfred's going to be knocked out of his map.
Yeah, Edward's in a great position, by the way. He was waiting around the corner off towards the side, and that alleyway wasn't checked by Singapore at the start of the fight. So not only did Edward get to choose exactly when and where he entered the fray, he also knew that he would have the Primal Rage to continue to cause disruption after that first 500 HP had been burnt through. Really good setup for Turkey there. Flanking Winston sometimes can be quite effective, even on his own.
Now they're going to wait for Rage Tofu here. Take him out at the final seconds. Ooh, never mind. Not going to pick the kill up, but still not going to be back in the mech. And you do see Singapore now switch things up a little bit. They're going to bring the Pharah out. You're going to have the Dragon Blade with the Nano Boost for this next fight. Primal Rage as well. I think this is a must-win fight for Singapore coming up.
I think you're right, Matt. 57 seconds remain in this one. 4 ultimates available for Singapore, though, to try and use the breakthrough. Dragon Blade, it's going to be a nano boost as well. This must work. Neon Tears pushing forward again. He can cut through the Transcendence to a degree because of how much extra damage he gets on the swing. You can kill a Tracer. She's only got 150 HP, but that's all he's going to get through. Jungjonji is up on high and very low on HP. If he gets chased by that D.Va, yep, it's going to be all over Red Rover. Singapore, again, have to back on up. Again, Dragon Blade, of course, 125 damage per slash with a 30% increase from Nano Boost. It's enough to kill 150 HP hero like Tracer or Zenyatta, even if the Transcendence is there, because he gets the kill even while the ticks of healing are going.
He gets one with the Dragon Blade, but I believe it was Edwin who was able to take out a Jin here in the back. And once you lose the Ana, then you also have one other of your DPS dies, and it was just a great job by Alfred, able to, oh wow, double self-destruct there from Alfred, as you know, the last fight he was doing a nice job negating Jungjonji on the Pharah, but Zest now on the payload, picking up 2 with the Primal Rage. We are right into overtime.
Yaga very deep here, he needs to get some health. He can still go for something, but perhaps just better to back away here. Turkey have got a little bit ahead of themselves on that last fight. Fortunately for Turkey, the payload has rolled back significantly enough from the entrance to the foundry that realistically the Turkish side can get in position. Now Singapore wants to make sure they don't have access or egress to this stage, but you can already see the setup. Alfred is there on that D.Va. The jump in there, great boop on towards Edward, prevents him from getting onto the backline immediately.
They're going to have a lot to work with here. The Pulse Bomb gets one. You do have Edwin use his Primal Rage. Yaga coming up the spawn. Here comes the Dragon Blade.
Yaga going for it now. Transcendence as well, just helping him out a little bit. Look at his health, it's not even going down from 200. It's all too easy for the Genji now. Smooth sailing, and that's going to be the overtime ticking down. Singapore falls short here on Kings Road.
You know, Singapore was strong at the beginning on attack, and then once they got stopped once, that's where you really saw the dominance of Turkey. I think, you know, that's something that we've seen in a lot of Singapore's games. When things are going good, you know, they start to build some ults, get some advantages. They're able to win a lot of these fights. It's just when they get stopped, they have to just go up and get a team full on, you know, completely set up. that's where they've been struggling.
Resetting's very hard to do because you need to reassess enemy ult economy. You need to sort of reestablish expectations and directive in a fight like that. So it does require actually, a sidebar to be taken and saying, guys, we need to set up like this. We need to, steel ourselves. We actually saw this happen in at least 2 of the games from the Netherlands as well. Especially on a map like Numbani, when you lose the first point, it can sometimes be hard to get a look in on the second. Point is, they managed to really establish a stronghold on that third stage. It's what Turkey's done here as well in the streets. They got bundled out at the first point rather quickly, but managed to re-establish, managed just to calm the jitters down. And of course, going one map down to Singapore at this stage for Turkey wouldn't really be the ideal option. So now going on towards control, they got that lead coming through. Kingsrow look good for them.
And with the way that Turkey's been playing, I mean, if they don't get picked off early by the Widowmaker, there's a chance they may even hold on that first point. I mean, they stay completely set up. Now you get Hex, he stays alive a little bit longer, able to build closer to pulse bombs, and the Dragon Blades as well from Yaga, he gets picked early. One of the guys taken out by Widow. Maybe they're able to even get a hold there.
But that's hybrid maps essentially in a nutshell for you, especially on King's Road, just given the how far away the spawn is. Same with Numbani. Get those early picks. You can play Hanzo Widow. As much as it makes me shudder, punishing enemy teams' overconfidence is something you can do at a psychological level with a Widow or a Hanzo pick. And we've seen Hanzo come in fairly comfortably. A lot of players play it all the way through the streets phase because it can be quite easy to use the way that the L-shaped streets angle to land those big dragon strikes and the like. So I don't mind that at all from Singapore. And I think it was like maybe even a personal decision from Agent to actually stay longer on that Widowmaker because he hung around a little bit. It was like 10-15 seconds before he switched the Zen after he got the 2 kills.
Well, I was shocked. I mean, he misses like 2 or 3 shots on Hex, who came all the way behind, takes out the Hanzo, and then he stays on it. I was like, okay, I expect him to go back to the spawn, swap things up, but he stays on a little bit longer. Ends up working out for Singapore at the beginning. The Lijiang Tower will be map number 2.
And remember, Turkey is one of the 2 teams, I'd say, this entire tournament. Okay, Russia 3, that will run that Farah pick fairly happily. We saw what Hex was able to do, and he put a lot of pressure on that Ilios map against Russia using Farah. Russia were forced to respond. They weren't pressured so hard that they put Shadowburn on his own Farah, for example. But Singapore, we've seen a few things from them now. We've seen a couple more of those hero picks. We've even seen the Junkrat. We've seen Jungunji play the Farah previously on that map. We know he can do it. So I don't mind seeing Farah Mercy here from both sides. It could be quite interesting. For Turkey to maintain it, Orisa would be strange, and they're going to go with a fairly standard composition, so they don't even want to play Farah on Night Market.
Which is interesting because that was very effective for them yesterday. So we'll see how they adjust once they see that Singapore is running the Farah here. So you're going to see Jungunji putting in some shots onto the players of Turkey. Just trying to find some damage here.
I'm okay with this, to be fair, especially if he's not being focused down. Eventually, there is going to be a bit of scrutiny aimed towards the Farah here, but that's not priority number 1 for Turkey right now, because Jungunji can't safely actually access the point, really, because you have to drop too close to the ground or drop too close to, surfaces that could, cause you to splash yourself with your own rocket. So you have to sort of work around from the outside and work your way in. Once Singapore have control of this point, that's where Jungunji can make his way over out into the courtyard and actually do some serious damage. And then Turkey have to filter through these small tunnels to get out there. Jungunji can just start spamming away.
I mean, he's done a phenomenal job at the beginning of this game, putting down a lot of damage, picking up some kills, giving Singapore a great start. Now, see if Singapore with a good hold here to start to build up some percentage on this point.
That was really smart there from Alfred. What he did was force Zest off that ledge, because you sit up there as Winston, you get tons of cleave damage if the enemy walks down, and then you still have your jump to get away once you drop on top of them. So using the rocket boost from the Diva just to knock the Winston off there denies that positional advantage from Singapore at the beginning of that fight.
Zest does have the Primal Rage. You already have a res, but it's going to be Neon Tears falling there to Yaga at the beginning of this one. Hex, he takes a rocket to the mouth. It's an even trade here at the beginning of this fight. We'll see, though, if they can get in position to use this rocket barrage.
Now look how much freedom Jungunji has now. Well, as I say, then he gets picked off by Alpha, but he can see how he can transition between in and outside fairly comfortably when they have control of the point. Now it's a transcendence here for Turkey. They're willing to take things back. The Dragon Blade for Yaga doesn't really seem to have achieved too much, but the Swift Strike does. Zest is pinned to the roof as he's caught up out of the fight, and Jungunji is a late arrival, which means that he'll be focused down rather rapidly.
Singapore did use a res there. They used the Primal Rage, and they used the Pulse Bomb. So they invested a lot of ultimates into that fight, and they still don't win it. So now on the side of Turkey, you're in a very good spot, right? I mean, you're going to have the Sound Barrier, you're going to have a Primal Rage of your own, and then Hex with the Pulse Bombs. See how they play this out, but it looks like it's going to be Jungunji able to take out Edwin at the beginning of this with the Rocket Barrage.
Yeah, he was waiting up on high for the rest of Turkey to come on through, so he's nailed that one. Really good to be able to pick off the enemy Winston, and Singapore now have the control to be coming back in with. That is a complete whitewash of a fight here. This looks very, very good. you have to ask at what point the Turkey start thinking about trying to manage the impact of Yongunji. Can you mitigate him? Do you challenge him directly? You pick a McCree and you try and pick him out of the sky. I don't mind this from Hex. It's not really been a standard approach for many teams, but we'll see if it works out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he can actually do some damage, be able to take him out of the sky, because right now, the fire is definitely giving Turkey some troubles.
Zest is so annoying up on that little ledge. You can see what he can do. That's why it was knocked off beforehand. Sound barrier there because Yaga was so low, but Serena's been able to find cover in the aftermath of that as well. Yongunji is getting damage boosted, at least by Agent for the most part. Now he's forced to go and heal out the rest of his team. Hex has found Zest on that McCree, and Yongunji needs to respect now how close the hit scan pressure is to sort of focusing towards him. He'll now have to back away. He can't even escape there. That's the problem. Farah, when she comes home to roost, is generally not a warm welcome.
Yeah, I was just going to say, once Farah gets on the ground, she's not the most mobile, right? I mean, if you jump on her, you're going to be able to take her out. So now they're going to have to wait for Yongunji able to come up the spawn, get him back in this next fight. They will have a res though, so maybe you'll see them play a little bit closer to the point. See if they can get a res off and then push forward, but it's going to be Edwin taking out Cup here with the Primal Rage right at the beginning. Yaga working very close to another Dragon Blade, so he's going to earn that now back up, because they've got 2 picks. No reason to invest anything in now.
Now let's watch where Yaga sets up here, because he can't really set up on this ledge and try and drop down, because the Farah's always going to be able to peer over the top and see him there. So you see him actually crouching in the corner. Hex also sitting back. He'll be able to use a pretty nasty Deadeye, and you have to respect the heck out of this if you're Yongunji, because there's no protection for you if a Deadeye comes up and you just use your shift to boost up. You're sitting duck.
You might be able to even get the Mercy in the Deadeye as well, so you won't even have the res if you're Singapore. Singapore has now worked their way all the way around. They're going to play off the point here. Yaga coming down from behind. The sound barrier comes out here for Singapore a little bit early. Maybe you see the Dragon Blade here. They comes out, and yep, here it is. It could do a lot of damage.
Now again, it's just some extra damage to get him over the line. He wants Yongunji so badly here, but the dash didn't quite come when he needed it to. He's cut down the barrage turn to get Sorella there. Just going to pace him to the floor pretty comfortably, and that's going to be Alfred getting desuited now overtime. Turkey have control. They've been maintaining it so far, but Neon Tears and Zest have other ideas. Edwin's there, though. It's going to be 2 Winstons over on the point. Twinstons smacking each other about. And now back in the corner is Edwin. The primal rage of his opponent is a little bit difficult to deal with. Yaga and Sorella have dropped onto the point now, though. We have a bit of a 3v3.
Yeah, reinforcements off the spawn for Turkey, but it's going to be capped here by Singapore. So if you're Turkey, you just want to get out, you want to reset. You can't have anybody drop here, because Singapore getting very close to taking the point as well with 92%.
Yeah, and that's why I'm glad Turkey backed away there. Extra stagger would probably mean they've lost the round outright. Now they go in with no ultimates to speak of. Singapore don't have too much more. They've got the self-destruct, and Yaga doesn't want to go face-to-face with a monkey at the start of this fight. That's a terrible decision. He's going to get booped now by Cup, and that's enough damage there. Oh no, the Genji being down is a terrible start of the fight, and Singapore now with 3-1 in trades. Edwin's trying to make something happen here, but he can't protect his teammates, let alone kill his enemies. The bubble's not going to be there. He's forced to get knocked out, and Neon Tears and Agent at the end of the fight are just going to be able to pick on Alfred. The D-suit is there, and Singapore, who would have thought it, looking to take their first round here. Lee Jung Tower, and a nice turnaround to start off with that Farah pick as well. No response from Turkey in kind. The McCree definitely didn't seem to make the difference.
Yeah, they didn't really get anything out of the McCree. I mean, the few times that we saw, he was not really able to get a view on fire in the sky. And I think right there in that last fight, I think Yaga just went a little bit too deep on that Genji, right? He goes all the way in the back. He gets tagged up by the Winston. You see the 76 Tracer and Lucio playing a little bit further in the back of the point, more by that little health pack. And he was just taken out, and then things fall apart there from Turkey.
Well, now perhaps, things might change a little bit more. Turkey generally, what's so strange about this is they didn't play Lee Jung Tower yesterday in their match. It was actually Ilios, right? And that's where they wanted to play their Farah. So it might be something about Lee Jung Tower. Perhaps they had other ideas. They probably should have expected to see Yongunji play Farah, given that they'd seen him have that stint on King's Row in this match. I mean, this is where you want to do it, right? Divas, please eat those concussive blasts. I'm going to get really upset if anyone gets knocked off at the start. Looks like we're in the clear for now.
Yeah, it'll be Farah Mercy for both sides, as we have seen quite a few knockoffs from the Faras so far this weekend. See Hex now. Just going one-on-one here in the sky. Farah v Farah. He's going to turn his attention to Rage of Tofu on the ground as Neon Tears on the Genji with his support from the Diva, able to pick up 1 kill. But right now, team's just trading this out. It looks like Turkey is going to have the advantage on the point early.
It's a very difficult decision when you're a Farah Mercy playing up against an opposition Farah Mercy, whether you opt into the fights with your, with your counterparts or actually try and deal with the ground crew there. Nice concussive blast from Hex. That probably should have claimed the life of Cup there, but it looks like he's been able to survive, so maybe he wasn't knocked off the edge completely. Got a lot of air control in Overwatch. So now Hex is pushing forward. Farah Mercy versus Farah Mercy is kind of weird, especially if you're the team that doesn't have control of the point. You kind of have to hover and hope that you can get damage done.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have the point, I feel like you could spend a ton of time just either battling the other Far Mercy, and your entire team's just kind of waiting on you to make a play. And here comes a self-destruct from Alfred. He's able to take out Agent, which is a huge kill. You know, you're able to take out the Mercy. Now Farah does not have that support in the sky. You can go up and challenge her.
Yeah, that was nice there from Alfred. Just tried to go up and get a bit of extra damage on Jungunji, and Hex was there. So that Farah, of course, in play for him now. Turkey seem to be comfortable in this instance to match in those team compositions. Yaga's playing Tracer, though, which is not normally what you see from him. Normally over on the Genji. So at least Turkey seem to have a little bit of flexibility about them. That's good. Reses, for Nikto, he's got his ready. Agent should have his for the next fight as well.
Agent's just going to build some more ult on his Farah here, and they have to be very scared. Some of these concussive blasts are getting very close to knocking people off. A beautiful shot there by Young Junji. And now the Dragon Blade's going to come in here for Neon Tears.
There's a lot of ultimates going on right now. I'm not going to lie. Surrender eventually does fall to the Dragon Blade. Neon Tears is probably happy just to get the one kill in that instance, considering how many support ultimates were drawn out over the course of that fight. Surrender Nikto, Cup used his as well. Aegis still has the res, though. That could be important, but it doesn't really seem to be required, as Singapore cleaning up in the aftermath of all those ultimates fairly well. Hex is on the point. You don't really want to be there on your own as a Farah, especially when the enemy's there. It's just a matter of stalling right now. Turkey getting themselves at least to 85 and keeping this running. Fortuitous for them indeed if they get so close to 99 before the fight actually gets flipped back.
Yeah, Turkey has still built up a huge lead. Edwin on the point now, trying to extend it even longer. More players coming in to try and contest here for Turkey. They're going to get very close to 99% before Singapore will even get the point. So they do get to 99. Singapore now has the point, but it was phenomenal by Turkey to get that last 10 or so percent.
Right, so it should be probably going without saying at this stage that the margin of error for Singapore has become very, very slim. They must hold the point and need to ration these ultimates out until they can at least get it to a 99-99 situation and then trying to go for it. So Turkey should be comfortable right now. Edward's getting poked down reasonably hard on the point. He's going to drop in over the top, and Jungunji has got a decent position. He's not being focused down, and now he's just going to push in the extra sound barrier. Makes this a comfortable play inside the point.
Yeah, you're going to see the sound barrier coming out for Singapore. So they're trying to hold on to the point. A lot of kills going in their favor. It's going to be the self-destruct coming out from the side of Turkey. Hex now with a rocket barrage as well. Turkey trying to get the point back, forcing it to a third point here on Lijiang Tower.
Jungunji's trying to maintain altitude here as well. He's ready to drop a barrage vertically on top of Turkey when they try and move on to the point, but that hasn't happened. Surrender deals with him admirably indeed. Now just Rage of Tofu and Kappa left on the point. Agent's going to get the res on towards Zest, but that's all he managed to get. Neon Tears goes in with a Dragon Blade as Alfred to fall now, and he's found Yaga as well. The Tracer seemed to have been without a blink available to her at that time. Edward at least can punish the Genji. But that's all for now. Singapore still remain up on the point. Edwin's got two. That's the res for Turkey. They've got to make this work.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to have Nikto coming off the spawn with the res. Now Surretler has that sound barrier. He drops it, connects with mostly everybody on the side of Turkey. They get the point back. The overtime bar clicking down. It's going to be Rage, Neon Tears getting on the point there for a quick second, I believe. Trying to extend this here for Singapore as now Zest has jumped through the window as well.
There's a lot of stalling available on this map, and especially now with the primal range of Zest on the point. He even found Nikto in the process. That's more than you expect to get if you're purely just on the point to stall it out. It's not bad. It's going to take a little bit more than that, though. Rage of Tofu also gets on towards Edward here, and there is potential for Turkey to turn this around. We're still in overtime, of course, will they maintain control. Singapore, though, they're the ones that want to rip it back in their favor. Hex deals with Zest at point blank, but he's down to 6 HP. Forced to back away. One straight shuriken was all it took for Neon Tears to find him. Now to self-destruct on the point from Alfred, and Neon Tears somehow got caught out by it. Rage of Tofu also getting desuited. So much value from that Alfred self-destruct there. And Turkey start to wrest this back in their favor. It's been an arduous tug of war, but they get it, and they make Lijiang Tower pretty darn interesting.
Singapore dragged it out for a very long time there at the end. They were able to hold on, just did not get things to go in their favor. Alfred there drops the self-destruct, and everybody has to clear out from the point. He's able to pick up one kill with it, get another player extremely weak. And it was Turkey able to take that one. Not easily, though. Singapore, they were able to bounce back at the beginning of the game, bring it, I believe, from 99 back up to 99 to 72. So it's a good bounce back by Singapore. They couldn't hold on to that last fight, though.
So the thing is about that kind of map on Garden is that, if you're just walking around the map at normal speed, let's say you don't have any mobility abilities, it can take a while to get to the point. But as the Crow flies, or as the Winston flies in some cases, it is easy to reinforce and stall that point out. It's much like, maps on Oasis as well, very similar. So that's why we get these really intense sort of head-to-heads towards the end of the round. And I was credit to Singapore for actually getting kills in the stall phase, but now we're going to be on towards Control Center. And again, Last chance to loot for either of these two teams. Turkey would hate to drop a map here, and it's all on this round.
And now you're going to see Singapore opt to go with a triple DPS here. So I don't think we've seen this out of Singapore. And some of the teams, it's really hit or miss, right? When you go with the triple DPS, you either get the advantage early and you're able to really cause a lot of damage, or you get picked and it's very difficult to bounce back. It's going to be Yaga picking up 2 there with a nice dash through Rage of Tofu and Young Donji.
Yeah, Yaga finds his Aijin there. He was very, very low, and the Discord orb from Nikto was very well placed. In addition, up on the ledge there is Yaga now to drop down. So Singapore's team composition is good if you can follow the Discord orb in. If you're defending the point and you aren't the initiator of the dive per se, then you have to quickly mitigate the damage or disengage back and then try and jump on in. So Singapore needs to be pretty darn good and pretty reactive. Good communication is required for this comp to work on this map.
Now we'll see Singapore if they can break in. It's really what they've been struggling with. Some nice shots there from Nikto as he's getting very close to the Transcendence. You'll probably have it for this next fight. Your Turkey, as he's just about to get it right now. Yaga trying to stay alive here. Gets up top. Hex picks up 1. Edwin with another. So it'll be Turkey holding on here, as now they're going to start building some ultimates.
Sorella just styled on Yonggunji there. That was very impressive. Yaga was trying to get to the Soldier 76 but couldn't reach him, but Sorella didn't really need help by the looks of things. Big ultimates here. 2 support ultimates for Turkey is so big right now, especially in the absence of, wow, we might have some for Singapore in just a second. This fight is critical. If Singapore invests support ultimates and lose it, they're probably going to lose this round too.
They need to make this work. You see, is Yaga just getting a lot of information here, trying to figure out where the members of Singapore are. Now that he's found everybody, here comes the Dragon Blade. It's going to be sound barriers from both teams. Now it's going to be the Dragon Blade coming in from Singapore as well.
I'd much rather see Yaga try and stay safe at that point, realizing how low he was, but he maintains his position in the fight and eventually drops. Edwin now with the Primal Rage. Again, stall for Turkey is great here. Even if this is a lost fight, keep throwing yourself at the point. Get yourself to 99 or as close as you can, and then you can come back in and regroup a little bit more. I don't want to see Turkey spend ultimates here unless they think they can actually win the fight. That'll be a huge waste, and they're not. Edwin's going to drop down. Nikto has a Transcendence, should be saving that, but yes, stand on the point. That's fine. That's fine. Turkey now at 90-odd%. Soretla a little bit late to the party will fall.
And towards the end of that fight, you actually saw the attack visor pulled out there from Singapore, so now you don't have that for that next fight. Turkey, they've held on to the Transcendence. They have the Pulse Bomb as well. Turkey setting themselves up pretty well here. The final point of Lijiang Tower.
And that's a direct, often, it's quite a direct psychological indicator of frustration to see an ultimate used when you know the enemy team is stalling. It's like, guys, we've really got to get this sorted out. It's like, you know you're not going to lose the round from that point, but that Pulse Bomb is definitely going to hurt. Rage of Tofu now back towards his spawn, and Hex up on the point. He sees Zest as a Discord orb, but the shield was in his way, and again, going up against the Winston, definitely not advisable at this stage. Hex already, again, chucked down by the enemy Tracer, and Neon Tears has found 2 to start this fight. It's good from Singapore.
Yeah, Neon Tears getting very close to the Dragon Blade, may not even win it. Need it. It's going to be Zest and Neon Tears doing a fantastic job holding this down for Singapore. As right there, Mitch, I actually thought Turkey was going to be able to take it, but Singapore holds on.
Yeah, it's interesting, really. Nikto had the Transcendence at the start of the fight, but Turkey didn't have any other ultimates to really follow it in. Maybe the Pulse from Hex. Hit or miss, though, as it always is. It's the nature of the ability. I'm a little bit surprised that Turkey didn't sort of bank a couple other ults around it, like a Dragon Blade and Transcendence would be just what the Doctor ordered here. So Nikto using that there, a little bit concerning. However, Singapore now can stall this out longer. They've got a Dragon Blade and a Sound Barrier, right? So there's a lot of protection, there's a lot of buffer for Neon Tears if he wants to go in and really find these targets in the back line.
We'll see when he decides to pump this Dragon Blade. Dives in. Now you're going to see it pulled out. It's going to be able to pick up 1, trying to find more members of Turkey. So Rettler's going to fall as well, as Singapore trying to bounce back here in map number 2.
See, there you go. Sound Barrier combined with the offensive ultimates is a very good insurance policy to make sure that something doesn't go wrong and you don't get that appropriate value with a Dragon Blade, for example. Singapore win a fight off these 2 ultimates, and guess what? Transcendence is just around the corner. Turkey don't have anything to answer with. This is looking like Singapore should take it if the cards fall as they should.
All they have is a self-destruct, it seems like, from Turkey. They're going to have to get towards the point here as Singapore getting very close. 99% for Singapore, so we go right into overtime.
John Genji drops at the start of the fight, though. He drops to Yaga, but Neon Tears are still done well. Both Genjis are managed to find their picks, and Zest now Primal Rage early on the point. Not even sure if that was required, but he maybe wanted the extra leap. Maybe he knew he needed to get to grips with the enemy. Yaga is down. Both Genjis now off the map. Pulse Bomb drops. Zest able to avoid it with a quick back step. It's going to be Alfred desperately trying to protect Hex. He knew he had to come around the corner with that defense matrix up, and his Tracer lives, but their numbers are not favoring Turkey whatsoever. Singapore pressuring so hard, and it's going to be Hex. He does have a Harmony Orb, but he can't complete the kill on towards Cup. He drops. Singapore take Lijiang Tower.
And right there towards the end for Turkey, Sir Rettler drops. He's just trying to stall out as Lucio in that middle column. and he's at like 95% towards that sound barrier. Maybe he's able to stay alive a little bit longer. You know, we had two teammates up on the opposite side. You're able to stall that out, get some more reinforcements off the spawn, put up a better effort.
Again, you know, especially when you're behind the 8 ball and you need to sort of retake the point, your ultimate economy needs to become a little much more frugal. You need to very much be planning ahead for the future and how they're going to be rationed out and how you're going to, how much does it take to get control again is kind of the main thing. So interesting to see Nikto use that transcendence in that fight. That may not have been the only factor that was their undoing for Turkey. But half-time sees our scores at 1-1. We're going to go to a break, ladies and gentlemen. When we return, quick half-time sojourn at the desk as we talk about what we've just seen.
We are hope.
We are honor.
We are courage.
We are justice.
We are compassion. We are determination.
We are harmony. We are Overwatch.
The Overwatch World Cup 2017 is brought to you by Omen by HP, T-Mobile, and Blizzard Entertainment.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 2017 Overwatch World Cup halftime here for our final matchup of the group stages between Singapore and Turkey. And currently, we are tied 1-1 as Singapore managed to take Lijiang Tower, which was their pick going into it. So both teams getting a victory here, which is huge for them, and I'm sure it's a huge boost of morale for them. And also, they're applying a lot of the things that they've learned throughout the weekend here, something that I've noticed. And then we also saw some Junkrat.
I was about to say, like, is that their takeaway? Like, let's play Junkrat.
Why not?
I don't know. It didn't seem to work out.
Let
much.
the peacock spread its wings.
I'm all for that, but that Junkrat on Kings Row didn't quite work out, to say the least, and that's why Turkey just they tried, and Turkey just kind of rolled over them.
Yes, trying isn't always everything.
You nailed this.
You are.
That was so good.
I want to stay positive, dude, but I just.
The positivity here.
I wanted to praise the Junkrat, but I couldn't find my words. It's hard. It's hard to praise the Junkrat.
Well, they tried something different, right? Which is perfectly fine. You know, I think now is the time for experimentation, especially considering how the groups have played out here. But one thing you did want to speak about, in particular, reinforce, was the double sniper approach from Singapore, which definitely was a welcomed.
Some flashbacks.
Change.
I mean, that's something we haven't seen since Apex Season 2, I believe. Yeah, Monte even has a video on YouTube where he explains how Meta Fina in Apex Season 2 breaks down the double sniper on King's Row playing the Hanzo Widow. It's pretty interesting. You can find some good angles, and together they're just playing so spread out, so it's really hard to dive generally in the triple tank meta, which it was back then. Now we're playing Genjis and Winstons, and that's a bit harder. But it's a welcome change, you know? Bit of memories from Rogue back in beta as well, where it was zero hero limit, so we played double Widowmaker and Hanzo, and that was good fun. I missed those days.
You were that guy?
I was that guy. Dude, we had a strat which was 4 Reinhardts on King's Row attack.
How does it feel to literally be the worst?
No, what? The worst.
The confusion.
I'm very confused. I was the best.
I like the very beginning on Kings Row from Singapore. Igen, like, he got those 2 pickoffs and then instantly, like, swapped back to the Zen. That was nice.
Yeah, no, we've been seeing that
Didn't
kind
really
of
help
like
them, but it was nice.
we've been seeing that kind of like swaps coming out from the Singapore squad, right? Like I had mentioned, when they try to run that Soma, they have Aiden typically swapping off onto whatever other role he wants to play at that point. And we're seeing that he does have versatility and he can bring out these different heroes here.
Yeah, always a pleasure to see here. This was definitely a wonderful game to watch between Turkey and Singapore. Some great rockets as well. Neon Tears just tearing through people, you know.
Yeah, but
These
talk
tiers
about
don't-
different heroes.
Single tier.
Yeah, single tier.
Neon tier.
Hey, I wasn't sold on Hex's Farah. I gotta be honest with you.
Yeah, but they couldn't really find an answer on Night Market. Mr. X brought up that it pulled out the McCree, but it didn't really do much damage. What it did do is change up the Pharaoh's playstyle. So while McCree didn't get a lot of work done versus the Pharaoh Mercy, neither did Pharaoh Mercy get a lot of work done because of the McCree pick. So it's a nice change of pace.
Yeah. Now, as we look forward to Game 3 here, this will be Turkey's pick now. And I have a feeling we're going to see Horizon here, but...
What gives?
Yeah, well, well, I mean, then again, right? Why not? Why not go to Volskaya though? Like, you know, just hey, why not? Right?
Why not?
Let your dreams be dreams, is what I.
No, you mean let dreams be reality, right?
Let your dreams be reality. Never mind. Yeah, you're right. Now your dreams. No memes. No memes. Stop it.
What?
No memes.
I thought this was the meme team.
We are the.
We abandoned that ship actually. We didn't tell you.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
yeah, I'm
sorry.
sitting here, no pants.
We're the. We're the
He
spicy
showed up
crew.
without pants.
Yeah.
It was
We're
a
the
bit
spicy
embarrassing.
crew. That's what we are. We
Spicy
bring
crew?
the spice.
I mean,
Right.
I just want to thank you. I mean, I've learned so much about North American streets in this text.
Yes. Oh no, I can't wait to take you in LA, and we get to go around all the different, you know, like neighborhoods, and I'm gonna really just attune you with the culture
real
of
deal.
North America.
Dear God.
Yeah, I'm
But,
very excited for that.
I hope Turkey's gonna go Horizon.
Okay, Horizon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a safe pick, you know, at this point.
At this point, it's gonna be Horizon.
Yeah, at this point, it's a safe pick. I mean, Turkey. I think they have the capability to be able to go against.
No,
Horizon.
they did practice it, so like they are confident on it.
Yeah. What about you, James?
I mean, we got to see some explosive Horizon play earlier on, and we're already seeing, you know, both teams flexing onto many different heroes. So if we get to see another Pharmacy combo coming out on point A, I would like to see that again. You can even go with the Tora Barissa if you want to.
No,
this is a time for experimentation.
Don't encourage this.
I am gonna encourage it. Let's go full blown tilt.
You know, I wonder what Kiki's expression was when Flower busts out the Orisa.
I think she did the Orisa expression.
Yeah, because she was so gunning for that Orisa, and if it happens again, dreams can come true.
Yes.
You know,
You and your dreams.
Orisa
Like,
Tor,
what
Orisa
is this?
legit
where
stress, right?
what about Hog? That's what I bring out. Bust out the Hog.
Flower brought out the hog. We've seen it. Flower brought it out.
He got the
brought
mic
out
bar
Hog?
on it.
Oh,
Got the
only
mic bar
Paul
on it.
thanked them. He brought out for one life, then he died.
Flower, you need brought for one life, and that was that. Jeej. All right, folks. It's time to get into this game here. Let's see what Game 3 is going to bring us as we send it back over to your casters, UberX.
Thank you very much and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Uber here with Mr. Rex. We are going to continue to meander our way down through this match. One with no consequence ultimately to World Cup standings. But for these two teams, I'm enjoying the chance to further take a litmus test of how these nations stack up, Matt. That's about it, though.
Yeah, I was coming into this, I was pretty convinced. You know, Turkey was the stronger team, but there's Singapore. They put up a very good fight there on Lijiang Tower. We see ourselves tied at 1 game apiece. See who can take this match to not finish in last, obviously. That's what they're playing for, Mitch.
Yeah, I mean,
Not pride.
you're about to tell me there's a lot on the line?
It's a lot on the line.
You are
Only because you asked
definitely-
me to say it.
You are definitely from the Call of Duty clot, aren't you? You definitely are. I'm not gonna lie. That is a thing. All right, so we are gonna.
That was like a stab to me. That
Why? What's wrong with that?
No, that's just
Do you know how many games I had to cast before I started on Overwatch, bro? Don't feel bad. Goat Simulator. Great game, by the way. Get around it. I actually did. All right, so it's Horizon. It's going to be our third map of this particular series. Matt, it's okay. You can get off the ground now, man.
All right, I'm alive. So we'll see. I believe we casted the other day Singapore. They ran this same kind of comp here on this map with the Reaper and the Mei. They just play further back, way on the point. We'll see if it works better this time. They ran against Russia, and I believe what happened was they put up the Mei wall and then Winston kind of like jumped back over and they just stalled out a little bit until the Mei wall was gone, and then pushed right on in. It wasn't too effective, so we'll see if Singapore has changed some things up today.
Yeah, I mean, it's a composition that really desperately hopes that the enemy team comes directly at you. The problem is that there are 4 routes of entry to this point.
Right.
So the enemy team doesn't necessarily have to acquiesce and go, we're going to meet face to face. There's no gentleman's code when it comes to this kind of engagement on the point. So Turkey first probably just want to get some info. If they see a Mei there, it's like, okay, if that Mei wall comes out too early, that's also very, very bad. Turkey have so much mobility that they can pretty much just ignore it or circumvent it if they want to.
We'll see if the Mei can make something happen here for the side of Singapore, and it's actually Neon Tears able to take out Hex right at the beginning, so good pick there. Now it's going to force Turkey to back up a little bit here from the point. You got to get Hacks back in the equation, such a big player for Turkey.
Nothing wrong with Turkey hanging around a little bit longer here because they haven't committed fully to the point, so there's always going to be an escape route. Again, looking for a pick or trying to get a little bit of extra damage. As soon as they start to feel the balance shifting against them, they probably should back up a little bit further though.
Well, you see Edwin there, he actually spots Neon Tears on the Mei to his right, and he just keeps trying to go back and forth through that doorway, trying to bait that Mei wall out. And now it's finally going to see Edwin and Turkey pushing right onto the point, and Edwin just causing a ton of damage. It's going to be Hex able to take out Cup before the sound barrier comes through, and it should be Turkey able to take this first point.
Yeah, tough for Cup there. I think he wanted to bring down the beat and give himself a sound barrier, but he was caught in midair, and before he could even touch the ground, he was dead. So Turkey now going to be sitting up on this point pretty comfortably. Again, this slow sort of composition, or this very static composition from Singapore, just requires Turkey to exercise a little bit more discretion about how they approach the fight. They know they can sit back because they know that Singapore are never going to over-engage on them. They're never going to overextend because that's just not how their composition functions.
Yeah, now you see Singapore, they banked up some ultimates, so they're going to ride this out a little bit longer. You do have Hex go from the Tracer over to the 76, so going to use that high ground to his advantage, try and just pummel the players from Singapore with some damage, but it's going to be Jung Youngji able to take out 2 there on the Reaper, make it 3 as he's going to DMAC Alfred. He gets the nano boost. It's a nice play.
Yeah, nothing more fun to sing a nano boosted Reaper. He didn't use the Death Blossom there as well, so that's kind of one of those scenarios that was discussed on the desk where a nano boost can feed another role. It literally feeds into Jung Youngji's next Death Blossom by giving the opportunity to do extra damage without much recourse. So now he's going to have that available. Very, very important if Turkey just sort of want to just drop on towards the point. And again, to mitigate the presence of that Reaper roll, I guess Yaga can try and reflect it, or, Alfred's going to be key here as well, just to be watching that Reaper pick.
We'll see if they can get anything with the Death Blossom, but you do have some ultimates built here for the side of Turkey. The Dragon Blade specifically, and you see the dive coming in. They're going to back up one player all the way back into the spawn. Yaga's going to go back towards the point. Now you want to draw them out a little bit more. Oh, and Zest gets picked off. That is not good for Singapore.
Maybe a lapse in communication, but he wasn't with the rest of his team. The rest of Singapore had already backed up towards spawn. Razor Topi's done a good job, though. He's found 2 now. Seretla and Alfred have fallen. Yaga looking for Neon Tears, but doesn't have the dash cooldown. He realizes he needs to stay in the bubble. It's too risky to try and walk at the Soldier 76 to find the kill. He waits on at least the ability to be off cooldown to come forward again, but now there's a Transcendence up for Singapore, further protecting him from any more response. Edwards found Agent here, but Neon Tears now with that tactical visor has found his second. He's found both Hex and Yaga with that ability, and that's enough to turn Turkey around.
Oh, and I feel like if you use that Dragon Blade there, you got to get something for it. He pops it, he does not have the dash to kind of close the gap between him and Neon Tears on the 76. They back up just a little bit. Singapore able to survive that fight.
Jung Youngji up on the rafters here. A lot of teams opt to sort of, high ground is so important in this game, especially for Winston. It means that he doesn't have to sort of use a jump until later on. He can drop down. It's almost like a jump, except he doesn't need to use the ability. So the point gets tickled there, and Jongunji's still up on that high ground, but the Hex picks him off. That's some big damage, and it's very crucial to get rid of the Pharaoh presence now. Alfred's put to sleep, and Rage of Tofu now follows up, puts himself in a position also where he can be further healed. The Discord Orb is going to be troublesome for the D.Va, but with Agent behind him all the way, it's going to be hard to take Rage of Tofu down. See the bubble though, the bubble denies so much healing from Agent, now he's forced to come forward himself. Rage of Tofu down, so is Zest, and Surrender up on the point here. He gets bionated though. Edwin needs to come to the rescue, but he's too late.
Yeah, and it's going to be Neon Tears, though, able to deal a lot of damage into Nikto on the side, but it's going to be Yaga coming in to take him out as players from Turkey coming back onto the point. Here comes another Dragon Blade from Yaga. The Transcendence comes in from Cup, and it looks like Singapore should be able to hold on yet again.
Yeah, Transcendence was very important. That's definitely going to stop Yaga in his tracks. And Singapore have a chance to recover. However, they were forced to dig quite deep in those pockets in order to do so. There's a Primal Rage from Zest. Transcendence was forced out from Cup. So for Turkey, there is a window. They have a trance of their own. They have a tactical visor. Again, it's about focusing down Rage of Tofu. Locate the D.Va, get her out of the suit, and then use the high ground advantage plus Hex having tactical visor. You can back it up with some healing from Transcendence. That's the first order of business here for Turkey.
Now you've seen Jung Youngji switch over now to the Tracer off of the Pharah, so not going to have the Pharah to just kind of spam the chokes with the rockets from up top. And you see now it's going to force Hex to bring out the tag visor. He's going to try and work his way back towards the point. Knows that the player, Jung Youngji, is behind him, working on the backline on the Tracer, but the rest of his teammates do damage in the front. It'll be Turkey taking the second point. The very good time there, Mitch.
The one thing I watched very closely during that fight was actually at what rate Rage of Tofu's health bar was dropping. That's a good way to sort of see if he's being focused down. And he was. Turkey had Rage of Tofu essentially dead to rights. Now, Hex using the tactical visor wasn't because, oh, the Diva's gone. It's because he was being harassed by the Tracer very closely. But he still managed to turn that ultimate around. So the idea of having the Trance and the tactical visor there for Turkey was actually what allowed them to get over the line there.
Well, and when Tracer kind of gets scared off by the tactical visor, she's not going to come work her way right back towards the point. So it allows Turkey to kind of cap it uncontested and never able to work back. And, you know, maybe Tracer, she starts recalling, blinks a little bit. You get some players coming off the spawn. You're able to extend it a little bit longer.
And importantly enough, I think at one point, the Tracer there from Singapore thought they could sneak back on towards the point, and Hex just managed to hit this point blank Helix rocket. So that's something you can't always count on. He really lifted up on those last few moments. So Turkey get the map done with 3 minutes in the bank. It's pretty darn good. Now for Singapore, definitely the underdogs in this group, already having picked up one map. A chance for them to reciprocate. Looks like, you know, an attempt for Reaper here on the attack as well as the defense might be the order of the day.
Now we'll see on the defense, it looks like Hex will be running the 76. You'll have Yaga going over to the Tracer. They'll be running the Ana Lucio combination for supports, and we'll see what Singapore does here on offense. I believe they tried the Sombra the other day on offense, and the opposing team had a Sombra and had all the health packs hacked, and they went back, switched off of it right away. This time, obviously, it would work. There's no Sombra on the opposing side on the defense. We can see maybe how they play around it.
It's possible that the Reaper pick here is in hope that Turkey will try and preempt any engage from Singapore by diving themselves. Let's say Singapore are walking through one of the small corridors. If Turkey kind of jump on them there, Jungunji's going to be able to get a lot of damage fairly easily, provided that Alfred isn't blocking a lot of it here. So out of the gates in the blue, it's Singapore now. 3 minutes or thereabouts is what they need to sort of beat against Turkey. And again, Neon Tears goes in. He's going to hack the health pack. This is now a safe zone for Singapore. This is now their new base of operations that they've established. With that hacked health pack, now they can push on towards the point. Where's Turkey, though? That's the question. There we go. They've engaged on the rest of Singapore. Neon Tears has hacked some health packs, which is all well and good, denying that healing away from Turkey, but the rest of Singapore need to hang on in his absence.
Yeah, Neon Tears is going to be a big distraction here. He's hacked about 3 health packs, 2 megas, and a little one now.
That's so annoying.
And it's kind of put Turkey in a really awkward position. It looks like they want to play for the high ground, but now with the Sombra pick on the other side, they're kind of forced all the way into that back corner on the point.
Yeah, Turkey want to give it a lot of ground, which I understand, because they want to hang around for as long as they can, but now without health packs within arm's reach, that puts a lot more pressure on Nikto and Sorella to deliver the required healing to the teammates, because a lot of your flankers want to use the health packs, because they're often not playing with the rest of the team. I don't love this. Agent's trying to, use the fact that Turkey kind of pushed up the point to get picks, but he's going to get left upon here, very low on HP and taken down.
Yeah, if he was maybe something that could get a little bit closer to his teammates and make a little bit of a difference, something like a Tracer, maybe they would have been able to take the point because of the poor positioning from Turkey at the beginning, but does not matter as you see Singapore picking up the kills. Neon Tears has done an excellent job here. They're just taking control of a lot of the map for Singapore, as you see just what a difference maker Sombra could be.
I really like that. On Neon Tears again, he's again set himself to work, hacking these health packs. And like I said, that now creates areas where it's actually okay for attacking teams to just sort of hang around a little bit because of how fast that sort of regenerates. You also deny that area from the enemy team. So it lets you, set up in a position where you can, again, get closer to the point. So you identify the enemies, the weaknesses of the enemy, and also get quickly on towards the capture progress.
And now Singapore has no problem kind of backing themselves into this left room because they have the health pack to play off of, they have the mini behind themselves, they can farm that EMP fast.
And the EMP, just speak of it, it does go off. Singapore also has a sound barrier to work with. Look at this, they're going to wipe this fight. Jungunji does pretty darn well there with the Death Blossom to get a decent and also find an enemy DPS player. Again, a self-destruct on the point. Rage of Tofu now getting himself back in that suit. Primal Rage from Edward now. There's so many targets to knock around though, really. Who do you choose? All he can kind of do is be a nuisance and contest the point before trying to jump back to safety, but he was never going to make it alive. Agent now is going to get the recall. You got a Tracer and a Sombra here. Very annoying, very slippery Singapore lineup back and forth off the point.
Yeah, Alfred's able to get one with the self-destruct. Singapore trying to pick up these kills. You see the advancement of the objective at the top of your screen. Looks like it's just going to be Hex on the Genji trying to get in there. Edwin now jumps over the top. He is quickly dealt with. Singapore trying to set a fantastic time here.
And look at Yungunji chasing down Alfred, getting so much free damage in towards that Diva. He does fall to the pulse bomb of Yaga there. It's surprising, perhaps he didn't have the shadow form to get away from it. Sound barrier and EMP for Singapore. That's really nice to double down those two ultimates. It's pretty much impossible to kill them at that stage. 2 kills of the Primal Rage from Zest, and now up on the point, Singapore looking proud. It's one last chance here for Hex. He throws himself upon the point. 4 minutes and 57. Singapore looking very good. Those weekends at the LAN Center look like they're paying off.
The Sombra pick was fantastic there for Singapore. It just threw off Turkey's game. Turkey did not expect that. They were playing for that high ground. As soon as they see the Sombra kind of get behind them, it splits them off a little bit, backs themselves into the corner by that first point, and then it was Singapore in the second half. You know, when they were going attacking that point B, they get all the health packs in that left side of the room, and they're able to just play off of that position. They bank up some ultimates, they go in with a sound barrier and an EMP, and Turkey can never bounce back from there.
And, you know, I did mention that I wasn't a huge fan of Aijen's positioning on that Widowmaker, but whether intentionally or otherwise, it provoked the dive of 2 of Turkey's defenders upon him.
True.
Severely limiting the Turkish defending numbers on the point. And yeah, they got the Widowmaker, but it seemed it was in that moment where Singapore were able to get themselves an advantage elsewhere over on that point. So, again, you know, Widowmaker can kind of be like a red cape to a bull in some of these cases where it's just too tempting not to go for it. You're kind of worried about what happens if you leave it there. And one has to wonder, you know, with Turkey, who communicated that? It's like, we're going for the Widowmaker. Did anyone ever say, is that a bad idea? Do we need to stay here? Many questions. Probably won't ever be answered, but that's also okay. I'm all right with those kind of questions, Matt. Turkey on the attack here, 3 minutes or thereabouts will be their total. That's all they get to work with.
Well, with Singapore on the defense, they're going to go with the Mei and the Reaper combination again. We haven't really seen it work out for them. You know, when you just had a great offensive attack with the Sombra, obviously different to use her on defense, but maybe still go for some of that more control. You know, it definitely threw Turkey off guard there. When they were on the attack, you definitely think Turkey may not be that well equipped to deal with it on the offensive end as well.
Once you get rolling with this Singapore composition, it can really work when you get these big ultimates like Blizzards and Death Blossoms and all the like to stop attackers coming in. So again, Turkey approach the point from different angles. The wall comes in. Edwin's going to get by an nade and almost frozen to a crisp as well. Zest eventually finds him. So this time Singapore a little bit more aggressive off the point, not allowing Turkey just to sort of walk over the threshold and scuff the doormat with their dirty feet.
A beautiful sleep dart comes in from Singapore. They're able to keep Edwin from jumping right back over the wall. They take him out at the beginning, and they're going to actually take this fight here, Mitch, and it's a huge win at the beginning here for Singapore.
And you can see that, you know, Yaga kind of appears in the middle of the fray. He sees an Ana close. He also sees the Reaper there. Then he gets bio-grenaded almost instantly. Neon Tears did a good job to keep himself scarce and by a couple seconds using the wall to boost himself up on high. But now Turkey is starting to get back in numbers. This is kind of where Singapore need to be a little bit careful, consider giving a little bit of progress over and waiting until they're a full unit again.
Yeah, Hex just causing a lot of problems here, just trying to build towards that pulse bomb. He's going to use it. It looks like it's going to be eaten by the defense matrix, so you're going to get nothing there from the pulse bomb. As now we're only down to 1 minute and 40 seconds for Turkey to make something happen.
Less than ideal, and now there's a nano boost available for Aijen, so that could go towards Yungunji, give him that extra durability and also feed him for his Death Blossom. Neon Tears is not far away from that Blizzard. This is when this composition from Singapore gets a lot more frightening. They're really ticking into some serious old territory, whereas Turkey have used a lot of theirs already to try and get, you know, some sort of foothold on the point.
And like we talked about, the strength of this Singapore comp is when they start to build those ultimates. So you have the nano boost, you have the sound barrier, and you're going to have the Blizzard here for this next fight.
Yaga backing up. He's very cognizant of the fact that Mei can stop him in his tracks very easily. Dragonblade's going to be there, though. The question is, when is he going to go for it? He's seeing the Ana too close. It's a bait that he can't ignore, but he's forced to back away. And now, no, he's cut down in a winter wonderland. No hope, no chance for Yaga to escape from the point. Singapore start to turn down the thermostat, and Turkey don't really have a response for this one. Hand warmers won't save you here, boys.
And now with 53 seconds left, and now down to 45. So Turkey, they need to make something happen. You probably have one more good shot at this. You're going to have the sound barrier, you're going to have a pulse bomb, self-destruct, and I believe you also have Transcendence as well. So Turkey does have a lot of ults to work with. They just need to do something about this Mei and split them off with walls. That time the Blizzard comes through. the May has been an issue for Turkey.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what the Doctor ordered. 2 support ultimates up against the Death Blossom. Jungunji needs to be very clever about when he decides to try and breakdance down on the point for the extra damage. Soundberry used to start the fight here, so that means a bit of desperation for Turkey. They're trying to actually capitalize on that. And look how low Singapore are. The extra durability for Turkey, and also the target focus. No! It's not! It's a 3-man kill with the Death Blossom. Alfred already fell. Jungunji gets the Diva D-suited, then cuts a bloody swat through Turkey's roster now. Nikto forced to back up on the point, but he's so low. Jungunji now staying alive as long as he possibly can. Turkey aren't done yet. We're in overtime, ticking on down. Rage of Tofu alone on the point, but he does have, of course, Edwin there. It's Zest, with the Primal Rage to keep them back in Singapore. Some beautiful displays of ultimates and nice timing as well.
Oh, that Death Blossom was so huge for Singapore. It got everybody down on Turkey, left 2 of their players on the point. You see with Sorellar here with Alfred on the point here, trying to make something happen. Hex is going to fall on Tracer as well. The sound barrier going to come in for Singapore, and that is a hold for Singapore. What a play.
Again, if you try and assess that situation and maybe make a prediction on how the fight's going to go, you see 2 defensive ultimates, and then you see a Reaper with his Death Blossom and go, well, to try and cut through this amount of healing or this amount of shield
It's gonna be hard.
It's going to be very hard to do. And again, Jungunji managed to do that. There were like 3 factors that he had to deal with, right? Three hurdles he had to jump. One was the Diva, and the other 2 were the defensive ultimates, right? So the Sound Barrier comes out first from Turkey to try and force the fight on. I understand that. They got a huge advantage. But all that dissipated once Jungunji gets the D-suit on Alfred and then goes in, of course, with the Death Blossom. 3 kills for him there. Really nice stuff. Singapore now, they're going to make the Turkish guys sweat from this.
Yeah, I would love to know what was Turkey's plan there, because he had not had the Death Blossom in a very long time. So you knew he had it at his disposal. It was just they were not able to deal with it.
What do you do? Like, you've just got to go into this one. So, see, that's where the Death Blossom comes out here. And
Right
even
as
more
Demon.
importantly, Nikto never got to use the Transcendence there. So again, there's another one of the hurdles that Jungunji didn't even have to jump over.
Yeah, it's a big play there. It's now into the second half. Now you got to see Turkey adjust, right? Because you imagine Singapore, they're going to run with the same exact comp they were so successful on, right? You're going to have the Sombra Reaper Widowmaker combination. And look, now you've seen the adjustment from Turkey. They're going to run a Sombra of their own.
So this composition, there's definitely a focus on 2 solo missions. So it's Aijin getting picks and Neon Tears penetrating deep into enemy territory and getting those health packs hacked. If these guys can sort of, satisfy the requirements of their missions, we'll call them, then Singapore have already got some of those win conditions in the bag. Neon Tears now makes his start. So you can see he's already well behind the enemy team. Now his translocator's timed out, so we can't go back to where he set that. He's kind of in danger here as well, so he's going to throw that just for some mobility, get a health back, hack. Even if he dies here, he seems to be okay with that. The Argus found Cup, so now Turkey are definitely collapsing on towards Singapore in a bit more of an aggressive manner. This seems to be the order of the day. It's working well, and Jungunji again, he can't get enough health back because the defense matrix is in the way. You only get health if you do damage, and Turkey stands strong to start with. And Neon T is going to sit in the back here, so he can trade out with the Tracer a little bit here, Matt. He's just going to get his own health pack back.
Yeah, I mean, every time Tracer comes back and just pokes a little bit, does damage. I mean, it's just going to be healing it up right on top of the health pack, working towards the EMP. I don't know if they can let him kind of just sit back there uncontested for a while. You're going to see the Tracer come out here for Singapore, getting both teams very close to EMPs as well coming into the next fight.
Nikto's playing the Sombra here as well, so they're having to contest control of those health packs. Nikto goes in for the EMP first, but Zest has found him almost immediately there, so no chance to pick off any of the incapacitated targets on the Singapore side. The fight eventually swinging in Turkey's favour now. They definitely had the better positioning here on defense just to push forward. Zest doesn't want to chase Alfred. I think Alfred gets desuited nonetheless. Jungunji was the one that managed to get it across the line. Yaga again. Do I use the Dragon Blade here? Probably not. Need to back up with my team, deal with this Winston threat. And Jungunji was working off towards the side. Yaga forced to use the Dragon Blade here out of desperation. He does find the Reaper.
He's going to get one, searching for more as he's just trying to stay alive here. See the Primal Rage coming out for Zest. He will fall on the point. Cup trying to get away, will not be able to make it all the way back. Look at the run here from Yaga. It's going to force Singapore all the way back to their spawn. So now that Singapore, they've had a few runs at this. It has not been too effective. Now what do they go towards? They try and change something else up.
See this switch of Neon Tears. Nice, we stays on the Sombra here. Singapore know they got time. Time to sort of bank those ultimates up a little bit more and just try and go for one big push. The issue is that Nikto's been a step ahead of Neon Tears with those EMPs. So I'm glad to see the switch from Neon Tears here go over towards this Genji. But this is an interesting, again, triple DPS composition now. Agent wants to play this Tracer. We've seen him be incredibly versatile in his picks. So Let's see if the damage from these extra picks is going to be enough for Singapore.
Well, it's triple DPS with just one support as well. Usually you see just the Winston. So you're going to have Winston and Diva here. It's just going to be the Lucio as support for Singapore. So not going to get a ton of healing. And that's going to be a self-destruct plus an EMP coming in from Turkey. Sound barrier as well from both teams as Singapore tries to work their way towards the point.
Yeah, John Gunji here didn't get a sound barrier. Did he get hacked from that? It's hard to actually see now on his portrait. Self-destructed on the point. Rage of Tofi found hacks there, and John Gunji goes down with it with his ultimate, so probably did get hacked through, but Aijin finds two. Nicely done. Nikto is still on the point trying to stay alive. He's getting close to another EMP, but still needs to do a heck of a lot more damage. Aijin's there. Zest is also half health. Rage of Tofi gets desuited, but did his job in absorbing a lot of that damage. Neon Tears is trying to catch Yaga early as he goes to the point, but that's the Dragon Blade coming out from Yaga. Doesn't matter. The Shuriken claims his life while he was brandishing the sword. Singapore are getting close to taking this point back, and now there's no one from Turkey. Pulse Bomb, no connection, no advice. Neon Tears, he drops down, and opening the window perhaps for Turkey to get back into this one. The Death Blossom though, the breakdance on the point to try and shut it in the Turkey's face, and that's it. Singapore get there. 3 maps done, 2 of them in favor of Singapore, and this is definitely not going the way we would have expected.
I was worried when Singapore just had the Lucio as the support, but they get that sound barrier, they get on the point. They're not really able to make a lot of progress there, but halfway through, I believe it was the Primal Rage, they were able to stay alive a little bit longer, get reinforcements off the spawn. They were able to win the fight.
Again, definitely a case to be made for just sticking with what's working for you. You lose a couple fights with a certain team composition, but you need to obviously recognize the value of some of the ultimates that a team like Singapore were banking up. Now with a Sombra, you can go for a switch out on that pick because it's very easy to get EMPs. And if you're dealing against an enemy Sombra who already has the time to hack the health packs behind their defensive point, so Nikto was like, I can take care of these health packs and make it very, very hard for Aijin to come and put them in his control. It's just not going to happen. So I don't mind that seeing Neon Tears go over towards the Genji there as well. I mean, more ults just to kind of break the door down. It's a brute force approach. You've got the Reaper there with the Death Blossom, Dragon Blade also present, Pulse Bomb. It's all about just getting rid of the enemy team and spending some time alone on that point.
Yeah, I like the idea to switch off the Sombra there because if you're not able to get the health packs kind of behind them around the point, then you're really only getting the ones closer to your spawn. So what, with the composition they had, you don't really want to play from that far away with, Reaper, Diva, Winston, and I believe Tracer kind of rounded the roster out. So there's really no reason to play the Sombra in that situation from that far away. They switch over, to the Genji and they make things happen.
Bit frustrating for Hex there as well. I'm pretty sure he hit this pretty insane mid-air pulse bomb on towards Neon Tears as he ran onto the point. Like that's next level drive-by stuff. I don't know if anyone can really get insurance for that kind of collision. So that was really cool. With Singapore now, again, I mean, 2-1 up in this series, 2-2. Wonder if they're satisfied with that. I'd have to expect they want to go for a little bit more. But going on to it as an escort map, in my opinion, is where we've seen Singapore be weakest over the course of this weekend. Even if you look at the score from the hybrid map first up there, Singapore only taking that first point on Kings Row and really getting ground to a screeching halt.
Which is interesting because when we spoke to them before the weekend started, they felt like this was their strongest game mode escort coming into the weekend. They felt that it took the most teamwork, coordination, and maybe kind of hit some of their weaknesses as a team, mechanically. So it's quite odd to see them, drop some of these escorts and hybrid maps in the fashion they have.
Perhaps it just could be Turkey, especially confident on themselves. But prepping ourselves now for our last map of this series. It's going to be escort here, and it essentially will decide if there's any way of separating these two teams at the bottom of the table in their particular group. It could just be all locked up.
I actually think Turkey would be pretty heated if they end up losing this, like 3-1 or something. They came in, they were pretty confident going up against Singapore. Singapore's come out to play today.
Again, it's not the first time we've seen emerging teams from that Southeast Asian region surprise us. I think it's very refreshing to see displays like this. Even looking back last year, the Singaporean roster were very much the tricksters, a very playful bunch of guys. We saw a lot of Symmetra, for example, from them. They were more than happy to go that way. So Route 66, it's going to be the last map here. And given the proclivity of these two teams to run a Sombra, at least on some stages, I'm not surprised to see it here from Neon Tears to begin.
He'll get control of this Mega, and they'll play out of this position, trying to get that EMP right off the rip. We'll see if Turkey, maybe they'll use Nikto to fire out that Sonic Arrow, get a view of what they're playing, then kind of switch their comp up, better adjust.
Again, there always seems to be a pre-game discussion between Gunji and Rage of Tofu here, via emotes, of course. And now we're going to jump in here. Last map of this series, the last chance for Singapore and Turkey to show the world what they're made of here on the stage in Katowice. Sonic Arrow early, just to get information. Hex and Nikto, brief conferral, switch of heroes.
So they're going to go with the Mercy. Okay, for a second there, I was like, you're going to go Mercy with no Pharah, Mercy, Reaper. They're going to bring out the Pharah Mercy combination with Hex, take it to the skies.
Might have a Widow Mercy here. That would also be fine. Okay, where is Singapore right now? Mostly grouped up in the low area. I guess again that Reaper wants the enemy to sort of come to them en masse, for that matter.
Yeah, but
now they're kind of encircled.
Yeah, but it looks like they're kind of entrapped in there. Yeah, where now Turkey is kind of worked around both sides as see a hack come in there. So now Hex is going to get up top. The EMP comes in for Singapore. But it doesn't seem like they've gotten anything really for it now.
Well, Hex is not hitting his shot. Singapore managed to protect themselves from, the rain from above for the most part by staying inside that corridor or that cave, as it were. Hex now has a bit of freedom to do some damage. He got hacked and then EMP'd, so he had to spend a lot of time being more of an onlooker. But now he's dealt with the enemy D.Va, which is probably his biggest opposition on the side of Singapore now, the biggest preventative measure from his damage.
Well, once he gets D.Va out of the way, I mean, you're looking at, Reaper, Tracer can do some damage, and then I know the Lucio and the Winston. So really, if they can focus down the D.Va here on the side of Turkey, they can really make this Pharah be very effective.
Yeah. Hex just going to boost forward and try and maybe chase down and get a stagger on Zest, but he's not going to be able to find him. He'll probably just, satisfy himself with getting some extra damage on Rage of Tofu. Again, barrage on the horizon, but as you know well from watching this stage specifically, you don't want to barrage into a D.Va that's in a suit. Deal with that first, but big ultimates here for Turkey.
We'll see if Singapore and Neon Tears can land this EMP down on the point. They're actually going to use the EMP here, and the sound barrier comes out from Turkey. They're trying to hold on here. Turkey actually gets the point unlocked. They have a rocket barrage as well. A lot of ults there used from Singapore. And Turkey, it seemed like Singapore used all those ults. They never actually got to the payload. Like, the payload just kept advancing all the way through that.
Essentially, they did. I think it was John Gonji that was close to the payload using that Death Blossom, but that got mostly mitigated. Again, probably was Alfred using the defense matrix to prevent the damage from coming through. So Singapore now, it's like, we've used our ultimates, kind of wrecked our economy there. We can make switches now to, just mix it up a little bit. So 76 and Tracer is what they've switched over to. Hex is still more than happy to play in this role here. Look how much pressure. He controls this high ground now very comfortably. Self-destructing over the top. Singapore hadn't really peeked out of their nest for long enough. It was actually Zest that fell, regardless.
You see Hex getting a little weak here. They do have the res. Just trying to put down some damage. Neon Tears getting very low. It's going to fall at the hands of Yaga, and really now it's kind of just changed. You have the Ana and the 76, the ones on Singapore, to help deal with this Pharah. The solo res comes in here for Edwin. Now he's trying to push on forward, put more pressure onto Singapore as Turkey views this as a very good chance to advance this payload.
Yeah. Most importantly, man, the whole time we've been on board with Hex here doing so much damage, the payload has sailed through the entire second phase. Turkey have not allowed Singapore to even play the game in this part of the map.
I was going to say, look at where all the action is taking place. It's taking place right at this small choke. The payload advances all the way from the back. It's almost been Sorella just sitting on it alone for Turkey as Nikto is able to heal everybody up on the Mercy.
Whoa, okay. Getting a bit of first-person action there from Edwin. And you can see right up close just how he was mitigating the ability of Singapore to even get out of those corridors. It's so frustrating as Singapore. You can't even get onto the payload here. Turkey have done a great job of just denying them any sort of access here. Impressive stuff. Now that they might have to reset somewhat, there's actually still 3 players on the payload here. So as Alpha returns to the fight, Turkey looks to still have the upper hand. A bit of stall there from Singapore, but honestly, they only just started to get on towards the payload as it was in front of the second checkpoint.
Well, Singapore has like 3 or 4 people drop there, and then it's Zest coming off the spawn, and he gets like nano boost and just drops down, and I think him and the Ana are really the only 2 that jump down and try and contest there. So you kind of use that nano boost, don't get anything for it, and when you're so close to the attack visor and Neon Tears, you may as well have held on to it.
Neon Tears will have that unassisted for the time being. I mean, I could probably get a decent amount of healing here if Turkey can do their onslaught. I mean, that's a great pick, and that should slow Turkey up immediately. Yaga was sort of mid-air as that happened, so now he might be forced to commit to the fight in some way or another. No, the res comes in from Nikto. They're serious about this, but there's still 5 men because they lost Yaga in the interim. Neon Tears is more than happy just to perch himself on the biotic field. Nothing anyone can really do to get up close to him, and Cup gets the final blow.
So now we've seen Singapore push Turkey back. It's really been all Turkey at the beginning of this game. We'll see now if Turkey makes any adjustments here. And maybe they move away from the Mercy, right? You had the Mercy for the Pharah at the beginning. Now you're going to see Nikto switch over to the Zenyatta.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff there. And no real surprise. I mean, the ceiling's a bit low for Pharah to actually be able to get out of harm's way for most of the time. You can't sort of use Soldier 76's damage fall off against him. But John Gonji gets picked off towards the side, so that's definitely going to be the green light for Turkey to now go and try and find more. That's why the sound barrier has been committed by Singapore.
Now it's going to be Yaga working his way back towards the payload as he's going to fall. The attack visor comes in for Hex. He's just trying to move forward here, see what he can find. Puts a lot of shots into the defense matrix of Rage of Tofu. Rage of Tofu doing a nice job eating up a lot of that attack visor.
Yeah, frustrating for Hex to try and get through that, but he's at least forced Singapore back, and they've been corralled together in a very small area. Now, this could be the Hail Mary. Zest coming forward with that nano boost on him, but Hex is just giving him a lot of respect, a lot of distance now. That's going to time out, and Zest was caught out in the open. In the meantime, though, Edwin dropped on Turkey, so they lack a re-engage mechanic. That means that Hex really much has to plant his feet or just end up backing away entirely. Singapore comes forward. Turkey didn't have an engagement. Singapore kind of give it to them anyway, and they're taking so much damage. Rage of Tofu being de-suited here and not killed is not a good sign for Singapore.
Oh, that's huge. I was just going to say he's been doing a fantastic job getting in Hex's face, but now that he's de-mech'd, this is a huge advantage for Turkey. They need to capitalize this. Now it's going to allow Hex to put a ton of damage out. You see Yaga with the Dragon Blade just diving on opponents, able to get one.
Beautiful.
Picks up another, grabs Cup as well. That'll be 3 kills there for Yaga with the Dragon Blade, as now Turkey just keeps on advancing the payload.
Picture perfect stuff for Yaga. They managed to get rid of the mini diva just before she got remexed, and then both supports too with 1 slash. Perfect for Yaga. He's hit the jackpot. Now he needs to continue. Find a grenade. You can see the agent was purple, and Yaga, it's an easy pickoff. Rage of Tofu's thrown the self-destruct, and Yaga was sort of on his way back to the team and got caught out by it. Yongonji, though, falling to a helix rocket from Hex. That is a sad story indeed. Singapore are struggling now to keep themselves in this game. Neon Tears is so low. Hex now being battled around here, so a decent response from Zest to identify that he's the biggest threat to them right now.
Yeah, Hex pops a tactical visor, gets nothing for it. Zest getting right in his face on the Winston, able to knock him back. It'll be Singapore just holding on at the goal line here. Turkey will be forced to back up. A minute left for Turkey. You have Edwin with the Primal Rage. You have Alfred getting very close to the self-destruct. You have a nano boost as well. Maybe you nano boost the Winston as he jumps in and be able to put down some damage, then pop the Primal Rage. It was cause some commotion.
It's just a fantastic recovery from Singapore, losing Diva and 2 supports in the blink of an eye, and then still being able to, not just trickle back on the stall, but regain control. That's impressive, but you're right. Everyone's going to get the nano boost down when Yaga's found Cup. Oh, Agent, he knows he can't even really peek his head out lest he get taken out, but I believe the sleep dart connected on towards Edwin. He's now just, taking 5 for the moment, but he'll come back in with the Primal Rage, and he's found Neon Tears as soon as he re-enters the fight. It's only Rage of Tofu up on the point here. Agent's going to have to come forward. Cup's trying to do the job for the moment here as a self-destruct goes down, forcing Turkey away, but they're back. Now with Alfred off towards the side, Hex sitting back on top of that Bardic field here, using the ability to keep at arm's length is Singapore now, but they're all together. Singapore are going to hold.
Yeah, Edwin's going to pull out the Primal Rage and just try and buy some time. Hex getting very close to the tactical visor as well. The sound barrier comes in from Cup and Singapore. They're trying to stop Turkey here from completing the map.
Yep, Hex going down. That's a big damage source missing from Turkey right now. It's going to be a sound barrier, though, as the Turks try and hang on a little bit longer. Alfred gets chunked down very, very quickly here. Sorantha also just trying to stick behind the payload, make sure it maintains contested, even sneak it forward. Big self-destruct. Asian wasn't able to get out of the way for that one. Anna's missing, but not before we have a Boostio up on the point. Cup now, quite durable, with a bit of extra damage. It seems to do the job. 2 men get booped away from that Lucio, and you can see up and down goes Zesty. Eventually he returns to his demise, and this tac visor might just be the icing on the cake, might just be the finishing blow that Turkey were looking for. Singapore are finally extricated from the point, reaccommodated if you will, but it took Turkey everything they had left.
You see the guys from Turkey, the breath of fresh air there, a sigh of relief. So we got very close there at the end. Singapore, I was going to say, they have this nano boost. What are they going to do with it? You saw it go to the Lucio, obviously not intended there. Maybe they're able to connect with one of their tanks, stay alive a little bit longer, buy them some time there before the tac visor comes through.
Yeah, I mean, your margins either way are pretty slim there. Sometimes if you're Anna and you're in that kind of situation, first of all, sometimes in Overwatch, even if a Lucio is not in front of you, but his model's clipping through you from behind, at least it was the case that you'd actually give him the nano boost anyway, but also he was going to die. It might have just been desperation. Again, the extra durability for Lucio is pretty handy when you combine with his mobility. I'm not justifying this as the correct response.
It seemed like you were.
Just saying, it may have helped in some way or another, but for Singapore, I'm sure there are a multitude of issues that prevented them from getting that full hold there, but they were lucky to hang on as long as they did after losing double support and Diva very quickly.
We'll take a look at some of the highlights here. Singapore advances the payload all the way to the end.
Yeah. 1 slash gets 2, I think.
Yeah, I didn't even see the Ana around the corner. Cup kind of almost leads him to his other support there. Maybe you're trying to just walk him into a sleep dart, right to the chest or something like that. Oh, that's a little bit risky, though.
I think the self-preservation instinct prevails in scenarios.
I would have much rather gone with self-preservation.
Just run away, bro.
run away from other people.
Yeah, well, you know, run away in the direction that the enemy Genji, you know, saying very angry things in Japanese isn't. Is probably the option there. Again, it's tough to have the presence of mind in that moment where it's just like, I need to stay alive with my team. And, oh, Aijin, you're around the corner. Well, I guess...
Sorry, bro.
Yeah, that happened. Happened to pulse bombs as well. If you stick a Lucio with a pulse bomb, you actually have a good chance of getting multiple kills because Lucio, people have to stay close to him, right? And he's always jumping around. Very, very hard for teammates to avoid the stuck Lucio. But Singapore going to be in the attack now. Again, they like to play with this Reaper Sombra comp. They do want Turkey to come forward on them. But with the Soldier 76 and Ana, Turkey might just be wanting to use that height advantage.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's going to be very difficult to get Reaper into a position to make a big impact here. You may think that Turkey was going to play down low here by this health pack, and you can really use that to the advantage, but it's going to be Neon Tears getting a pick here early. It's big for Singapore. Yeah, the early hack of the health pack underneath the Neon Tears actually is what keeping Yungunji alive in that scenario because Turkey couldn't steal it from him. Eventually the Reaper goes down, and that's because Hex is keeping a respectful distance on the 76 and just plugging away with the heavy pulse rifle. Still, that pick is important for Turkey, but not enough to win the fight. And they're really backing up here, waiting for that extra player, so they have 6 men here. Yeah, Zest jumps on top of Big Earls, just putting a little bit of pressure on, just backing Turkey up a little. Hex, though, able to get a pick at the beginning. Now you're going to see Turkey start to fly out. Challenge on the payload.
Yeah, opportunity for Jungunji to get close to his next death blossom, but he went very, very low. He's forced into shadow form as Rage of Tofu also is backtracking. Turkey leave upon their foes and don't allow Singapore to actually get back to safety. So, extra ult percent gain, extra stall occurring. We now are getting close to some pretty nasty ultimates on the side of Turkey. Singapore would love to hit a nice early EMP onto as many targets as possible and then have someone like Jungunji to clean up.
Yeah, that would be ideal. So you would like him to get behind enemy lines with the Reaper, get into a close proximity, just do a ton of damage. As now, we'll see how they're going to play this EMP. Neon Tears has spotted a few directly in front of them. They have no idea he's in this position. He could get a huge EMP off.
Yeah, nicely done from Neon Tears. And notice he wanted to stay close to Hex as he did that and make it hard for the 76 to escape further scrutiny. However, Neon Tears was not able to do too much after the fact there. Sorella does go down and the self-destruct's not going to claim anyone. Everyone just flees inside Big Earls. But Hex down with a tactical visor, unable to get ultimate bang for buck out of it. And Rage of Tofu is desuited and dealt with pretty comfortably. This will be Turkey holding on for a little bit longer here. Though we don't really want to sustain any further casualties here. That's a nice pick from Hex. Amid the fray, takes down Neon Tears.
Yeah, and Singapore had invested a sound barrier into that as well. So you see it's going to be the Primal Rage from Zest just trying to knock back Hex as he has been the real difference maker up top here on Big Earls, putting down a ton of damage.
And with Death Blossom ringing out across the map, but doesn't seem to have claimed anyone there. Jungunji not really impressing onlookers with his breakdancing abilities. Oh, that's cheeky. It's the fadeaway on towards Agent from Hex. This guy's controlling the high ground well, and with Singapore's composition so far, they have not been able to control him.
Now we'll see if Singapore can get back closer towards the payload. A lot like King's Row, right? They did a nice job at the beginning when they had things rolling. They lose one fight, it's very difficult to bounce back. So now Turkey on their side, you do have that nano boost. Maybe you give it to Edwin as he jumps in. Or if you're able to win the fight without having to burn it, you can have it for Attack Visor and Hex for the next one.
It would be phenomenal for Turkey in this case. But now it's going to be used very quickly. Yeah, no surprise on towards Edwin, but the rest of Singapore have kind of just split and run away here. Cup is very, very low. He's forced to drop down. He actually hasn't been taken out yet. Nikto was found in a dark corner by Zest and dealt with. Hex up on high. He's getting taken so low here. The chase was good from Jungunji now. Singapore switching towards the dive composition now to pressure Turkey. Seems to be yielding better results. A comfortable lead in this fight for them as the sound barrier from Singapore dissipates. Alfred is besieged upon all sides. No Batman to save him this time.
Yeah, making the switch over to the Tracer from the Reaper has been great for Singapore. They've just been able to close the gap on Hex a little bit when he was so effective up top. You see, push him down from that position, down here into this little alleyway. Nope, I think it's going to be Turkey backing all the way up. They're going to let Singapore take this first point.
Yeah, Turkey need to respect this and now just take some time to set up properly. The team composition fits for Singapore was what made the difference here. Hex no longer had the freedom to work, and the timing wasn't great for the Turkish Soldier 76 player because that was when he was trying to make the tactical visor do work for him. That was shut down. Jungunji now, though, a bit of his own medicine being fed to him, taken out early, but that's a relatively inconsequential pick as the payload still needs to move through the animations of the door and such. So not much time lost.
Yeah, but you do think now as Turkey gets that first pick, they're going to jump right down on the payload, push Singapore all the way back. So, maybe if they could have gotten a little bit more map space, more map real estate, pushed all the way through the door here, it would have been a little bit easier for Singapore to operate. Now they're going to be forced all the way back.
Yeah, Singapore have to go now. They can't actually disengage because the door's shut behind the payload. So any attempt from Turkey to dive upon them needs to be met with conviction by the Singaporeans now. and they've done well. They're coming forward a little bit. You can see they're kind of zoning Yaga out towards the backside here. Now Hex with the tactical visor, but sort of having his field of vision again filled up by the primal rage Winston. Both Winstons having used their ultimates in their fight. Alfred needs to take to the skies. He was very, very low and will remain as such as Rage of Tofu butts heads with him and gets him desuited.
Yeah, whether it's Rage of Tofu or Zest, the tanks of Singapore have done a fantastic job. When Hex pops that tac visor, there is somebody immediately in his space to negate that. And Singapore will now start moving the payload up the street.
Sound barrier here for Turkey. It's a nano boost as well. And, you know, one would surmise now, if we use history as a teacher, that it will be Edwin to benefit from the nano boost and really just try and get in to find someone like Aigen early on.
Yeah, that's what Turkey's plan has been with the nano boost. They haven't really gotten an opportunity to use the nano boost with the tac visor. They have the sound barrier as well, and they're going to come out and fight with the nano boost on Edwin and the sound barrier.
Yep, Turkey throwing everything at this fight. They know they need to win it. Rage and Tofu getting accosted super early in that one. Trying to back away with the bunny blaster. Doesn't do a heck of a lot, skittering off the tough hide of Edwin. Now to turn around towards Aigen. He was very far extended. The dive from Turkey does the job. They're going to be able to force Singapore back, and any extra kills from here on out is a bonus. But Edwin seems to be happy enough, taking his primal rage and heading back to the ranch.
Yep, now you build closer towards tac visor. On the side of Singapore, you have both support ults up. You're going to be very close to a self-destruct as well, but nothing to really, no break in here. You don't have like a pulse bomb you can use to go behind, take out a support. You don't have the Dragon Blade either.
Neon Tears goes very low on the start of that fight. Now he needs to spend some time up on top of the building just to try and get health back. The sound barrier is going to help him, but once that dissipates, he'll be low. Hex is looking for a health pack. There's none down there, son. Nothing but sorrow and sadness at the bottom of one of the glasses. Aigen is dropping first, though. So Singapore losing their Ana straight off the bat, and Hex comes in with a tac visor. He managed to recover long enough to at least be an impact in this fight. And Turkey have done it yet again. This is bad for Singapore. They spawn so far away from the payload, they're going to have to desperately throw themselves against it, and that's not advisable ever. Rage and Tofu trying to stay alive now. He needs to be the one called upon to stall, but he's going to be knocked away from the payload. Then overtime's ticking down. A desperate biotic grenade thrown by Aigen just to try and hit someone. Nano boost on towards Yongonji. Again, it's about the durability to hang around and stall this one out further, but Rage and Tofu's down. It's a pulse bomb on towards Edwin, though. Singapore desperately trying to turn this in their favor, and the Dragon Blade from Neon Tears may be starting that off. Nikto very low in the back, you can see him there, but Neon Tears is slept. Nikto had 1 HP and managed to get rid of the Genji, but still Singapore, the desperation is paying off.
In the final moments, Singapore goes huge there. The Dragon Blade comes out, picks up a few. You saw Zest coming in over the top on the Winston as they keep themselves alive here on Route 66. For Turkey, you do have the nano boost. You know, you're going to give that over to Edwin. We've seen them do that consistently. Singapore still has a self-destruct. Mitch, but not a lot of time left here. You know, 1 minute and 12 seconds to go. You're going to get cut close to that sound barrier if you're Singapore. You'll get the nano boost as well. Try and make a play. Try and dive into that backline.
The fact that Singapore are even here is astonishing in itself, man. Neon Tears gets a little bit close to the electric tendrils of Edwin, but Zest has found Hex. That Singapore can kind of press forward. Both teams are lacking at 1 DPS player, but Yongunji's safe off towards the side again, just trying to identify a good way to get in here and deal with the dive. Oh, a nice little sleep dart there, and that's going to allow him to pick up Edwin. Singapore are not confident, though, not having Cup with them at the moment, because the sound barrier is going to be available in just a second, so they're going to back up, regroup, at least just post up on the payload here, and force Turkey to come to them at very least.
Yeah, I think their best bet, Singapore, is if they just kind of wait until they have everything here. I mean, 30 seconds left. Neon Seer is going to get very close to a Dragon Blade. You combo the Dragon Blade with the nano boost, and it looks like they're going to use the sound barrier and the nano boost here at the beginning. It's going to be a nano boost coming in from Turkey as well. Hex gets nothing with it, fires a Helix rocket right into the face of Zest, blows himself up, as now it is Singapore on the point.
Yeah, and they're on a roll as well. They're ahead in this fight. Momentum is starting to build for the Southeast Asian roster. You see that Edwin just had to extricate himself from that situation however he could. Neon Tears face to face with him, put to sleep. That's not good. He manages to get away though. Someone woke the man up. It was probably Edwin himself, in fact, with the taser. Not really what you want. That's not how you wake up in the morning generally. But now Turkey have been forced back. They need to regroup before they fight.
Turkey has no ults here. The payload getting very close to completion. They finally jump on it as a team. Turkey trying to hold on here, trying to take Route 66 off of Singapore. Singapore, Neon Tears is going to be taking out Sir Rettler there. Zest is going to be able to take out Edwin, as Neon Tears doing a nice job just staying on top of the payload here, nobody focusing him down.
Looks like they're going to make it here. Neon Tears has found Alfred Oates, gets the dash in towards the pilot Diva, and Singapore standing up on top of the payload. They need to finish this map to at least have a chance to continue forward. Yaga and Hex go down, and it's just drips and drabs coming in from Turkey here. Singapore need to at least finish the map. Turkey just need to get them off the payload. Dragonblade for Neon Tears, he's thinking about it, but it's on primary wage. Winston, this might be sending things south for the winner for Singapore. This is not what they were looking for at all. The amount of stall for Turkey is going to allow the rest of their team to rejoin them. Now with John Gunji falling down, the Dragonblade needs to come out from Neon Tears. But who's he looking for? It's hard to say. He's just trying to spread damage as much as he possibly can, but it's either too little butter or too much bread. Self-destruct claims Cup. Singapore are running low, but 2 quick kills comes in from the self-destruct. A 2v2 on the payload, and Zest goes down. Alfred pushes out, and Singapore fall agonizingly short of their goal. And they will drop the map. Final score being 3-2, and what a series, Matt.
It was that primal rage there at the end that just bought Turkey just enough time to get back towards that payload. And they're able to win it there, and it's a tough one to watch for Singapore, you know. You want to see them take that map. They were so close there towards the end, mounting a bit of a comeback where it looked like they were kind of out of it here. You know, they used some ultimates in some tough spots, and they're just not able to complete the map. Very tough go here for Singapore. So you see the scoreline come up. It'll be tied at 2-2. That's how we'll end this series. I know both teams came out this weekend. I know competed hard. Turkey looked very good at times. Singapore looked extremely good in this series. Definitely see the progress they made over the weekend.
No doubt about it. It's impressive to see this performance from the Singaporean side. Turkey as well, giving a good account of themselves. The games were very, very close. And I'd be interested to see who we talk to after this match, given there was a 2-2. It's musical chairs, up and down. But a fun look back as well. I appreciate Singapore, the way they want to style themselves on the South Korean rosters. We've seen some of the picks come in. Even, you know, Yoongunji's name is actually, you know, inspired by a K-pop star, actually. And also some of his picks were when we saw the Junkrat come out of the mix. Even the Reaper, which he actually used to pretty great effect. So, I mean, both teams should be generally happy with it. Turkey, of course, suffering, you know, some player shuffles very close to the event. Definitely made it a bit harder.
Yeah, it definitely hurt Turkey. You know, they're not able to get the exact players, you know, they may have wanted coming in, but they put up a good fight. Very impressed by the guys from Turkey. Definitely see them bouncing back stronger. Then on the side of Singapore, you know, they had some interesting comps that they definitely used to throw some teams off. Just don't know if they really got it put together until today. I think, you know, if maybe, you know, they had another few days of practice here, you know, against the likes of, you know, your Canadas and whatnot, maybe they're able to make a better go of it.
Well, I look forward to seeing them next year at the very least, Matt. But now we're going to head down to the stage with Malik and one of our players from this exciting series just to get their take on how the chips fell.
Thank you very much. I got a Fizz, the esteemed committee member, or one of the esteemed committee members from Team Singapore. You have to be feeling pretty good that you guys finally put some points on the board. Tell me what's going through your head now after that match.
I feel really good, especially for the team, because we put so much effort and we wanted to make a statement that we can actually do well, and I think we did today.
I can agree with that. Do you feel like you guys learned a lot with this experience? Because I remember when you guys came in and we had our first little sit down, you were telling me that this is a new experience for a lot of you guys.
Yeah, it's a new experience for me, especially the players as well, because they have never been exposed with so many people, so many things going around, all these cameras, all these interviews and stuff like that. Even for me myself right now, this is actually a really good experience. Yeah.
What would you say has been one of the coolest things that you've witnessed or learned during your time out here?
Me talking to you.
I like that one right there. And we get the handshake in, all that. That's lovely, man. Yo, you know what? I want to give you a chance to talk to the folks at home, the fans from Singapore who are watching you guys. You know, give them a couple words. Tell them how you're really feeling.
Okay. Thank you to everyone that has supported us. Even